Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of American Truck Simulator with Yeehaw Trucking Company and Tony Basilio and the great state of Wyoming. So happy you can join us. Let's get Tony on here.
We did a pregame show that was 6.5 months long back in 1998.
That's the year they finally broke the streak.
I think it was. Might have been 98.
The year before.
I think it might have been the year before, Brian, actually.
Which they laid an egg.
I think you're right. So we're soft pedaling the Florida deal now. We're soft showing it. Soft showing.
All right.
Soft selling.
Find us a job.
Soft whatever.
Get on the road.
Yeah, you didn't have anybody else that was factoring in back then in the East. Now you've got everybody else under the sun is laid a claim.
I thought it was interesting yesterday. The caller Florida popped on the air with us, and he actually broke character yesterday, and I broke character with him. We had an adult talk. He said if Richardson can't go again, and he's not full strength against Tennessee, that he's concerned about the game. Because Emory Jones, he's a hoopty quarterback.
External contract.
He's like Joe Milton. No offense to Joe Milton.
Okay.
Joe Milton's not going to world beat anytime soon on a college football. And I'm not knocking the guy, but he's just not.
I'd take Milton over Emory Jones right now.
I agree with that.
So,
I would take Milton over Emory Jones. Florida, if you're listening, I would take Hendon Hooker over Emory Jones, and I would take Harrison Bailey and Brian Maurer over Emory Jones. So you can get you some of that. In fact, based on what I've seen, if you look around the league, the league,
all right, taking a
Jack
frac tank up to Riverton, Wyoming.
You'd be hard pressed to find a quarterback worse than this guy around the league. A starting quarterback. Go through your progressions real quick, Bri. The guy at LSU, better or worse than Emory Jones?
I'd have to say a little bit better. I would say the Vanderbilt quarterback might be the only situation that Florida wouldn't make a trade.
Maybe
South Carolina.
Maybe. I don't know. No, that guy's better than him. That guy's a better quarterback than Emory Jones. I mean, that guy can at least throw the ball a little bit.
Would you rather have Stetson Bennett or
Okay,
Joe
we're
Milton?
tired.
Stetson Bennett over Emory Jones, yes. I mean, Stetson Bennett can't. No, Stetson Bennett can't ride the rides, right? Go playing our offense. He can't.
He looked pretty good against, I guess it's UAB, but UAB's not a bad team.
Bri, he's 12.
Pretty good again.
He's 12, Bri. He can't yet ride all the rides. It's dolly weird. I got an impassioned email that I might run tomorrow from, because tomorrow's our Celebrate College Football Day on the blog, where Kyle writes his celebratory weekly column of everything that's great about college football. I'll say this. Arkansas's win over Texas is great. And I got such an impassioned reply from a guy that's an Arkansas fan who's been with us for years in the audience. He's called the show a few times, but he's emailed a bunch. And I'm happy for those people. Hey, listen, they made a really good hire. They went outside the box. They hired a guy who was never a coordinator. And he's doing Sam Pittman is doing a really fine job. In case you're wondering if that was fluky last year.
Is.
What happened down there, it's not fluky. He's got the Hogs back to being tough again. And I'm happy for their fan base. Takes one to know one. And I'd like to know one soon. Here. I sure would like to know one.
How we're happy for them now, but we hated them back in baseball season. When Vitello went off on Van Horn.
Different sport of a different stripe, right? You're being like Randallville right now. Good gosh almighty. We continue the lowdown on Gainesville. Adam Buckles is your Medicare specialist. Your go-to guy when it comes to Medicare and your Medicare needs. If you're 65 and over or on disability, you owe it to yourself to call Adam Buckles. Adam is licensed all over the Southeast to handle your Medicare needs. Adam is a VFL to the core and wants to help you find the right plan for you. Look, there are many options to choose from. Even if you're already on Medicare, Adam might just have a better plan for your needs. So take it from TV. Call Adam Buckles at 423-213-7655. That's 423-213-7655. But don't just take it from me. Take it from Titans B.
Call Adam Buckles. He's my good Christian friend, and he'll take real good care of you. When you need an enhancer or two for your Medicare, call Adam Buckles.
423-213-7655. That's 423-213-7655. Tony Basilio here from my good friend Marcos Garza in your Garza Law Firm. Pretty jacked up that it's football time in Tennessee. How about you? Well, I still have word of a troubling development and what we can do about it. Because carpetbaggers remain in our area. Out-of-town law firms, carpetbaggers, have been swarming in the East Tennessee lately. Firms from Memphis, Chattanooga, Birmingham, they've stormed into our area. You've seen the ads on television. You've heard some of these new ads that are popping up on radio. Let me ask you a question. Wouldn't you rather do business with somebody that's live and local? A local law firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and my friends at your Garza Law Firm are exactly that. These are your neighbors, your friends, our neighbors and friends. Support local causes year-round. Marcos Garza and the Garza Law Firm, always there for me when I have a need. For Fish Hospitality Pantry and also our Machi Tailgate. Just to name a couple of things. They're live and local. They're one of us. They're of our earth. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries, and accident matters. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at GarzaLaw.com. And they will be for many, many years to come. Live, local, one of us, one of you. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help. Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
What do you call a group of friends who wear the same jersey for good luck, no matter how old it is, and who support their team through thick and thin, week after week, as if the very season depended on it while drinking Miller Lite? You call it Miller Time, all football season long. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2020 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Carnes Motor Company is celebrating 20 years of serving the living East Tennessean. Like us here at your Tony Basilio show, Carnes Motor Company wins because Rob and Brian go above and beyond for you. Above and beyond. Carnes Motor Company will even buy or sell your vehicle. Yes, they'll buy or sell your vehicle for you. Plus, warm weather's here. It's time to get your air conditioning serviced and get your vehicle ready for vacation with their certified technicians. And the best part, bumper to bumper, pillar to post. Carnes Motor Company will serve all your vehicle needs. How else can you thrive for 20 years besides going above and beyond? You will win with Carnes Motor Company, 7447 Oak Ridge Highway. Online at carnesmotor.com. Win with Carnes Motor Company. The kids are off to college. They're hundreds of miles away. And me and Mrs. B are staring at each other in an empty house. She wants to get away. Go see a show or an event. Who do we call?
Yeah, Select Ticket Service.
How about when she wants to go to an NFL game?
Hey, Select Ticket Service.
Yeah, Select Ticket
About a
Service.
concert in Atlanta.
Select Ticket Service.
Say an NBA game in Charlotte.
Got 270 miles to
Select Ticket Service.
Select Ticket Service, 687.
Turn left, we're gonna hop on
687-1718. Select Ticket Service.
Yeah, that'll play.
Are you or do you know a senior that wants to give back and make some extra money while doing it? Well, I've got a life-giving idea for you. It's called Seniors Helping Seniors. This is a special job that will work around your lifestyle. Whether you or the senior you know can provide just transportation to a fellow senior or have a full nursing background, you have the ability to work as many or as few hours as you would like. So any senior can do it. Give them a call and join the life-giving team at Seniors Helping Seniors. 865-269-4483. That's 865-269-4483. Or find them online at seniorshelpingseniors.com. It's a great way to give and receive. Seniors Helping Seniors. Chilio back with you, 865-200-5400.
Chilio.
Welcome you back on the program. The show of record here in East Tennessee, as it were. We were telling you about those two video billboards Tennessee's putting in their stadium. We'll get into that in a little bit. We had a little birdie down in Nashville sharing that with us last week beforehand. But that's certainly what's on deck now. And we welcome you back. Graham Hall's going to join us now. He of your Gainesville Sun. That's like a indie racing name or something. It's an incredible name. Graham, I welcome you in. Appreciate you coming back on with us, man. It's been in a few minutes with us, and boy, this Richardson guy's been the talk of college football early on, man. He has been absolutely electrifying through two games for the Gators. As I welcome you in.
Hey, Tony, it's my pleasure. Good to be back. So, I got to take a little bit of credit here.
Take some credit.
I'm going to say that I knew Anthony Richardson was a more dynamic quarterback than Mullen did. Because if you go back to that recruitment there, they almost lost this guy, which seems inconceivable right now. I know it's only been really 2 games through his playing career, really, as a sophomore here. But you go back to that process, after getting him in the fold, he's a Gainesville native. I mean, he played 10 minutes down the road from the University of Florida. Dan Mullen goes out there and offers Carson Beck, and lusts after Carson Beck, who's now with Georgia, and ends up losing Richardson. He decommits a couple months later, and looks like he may end up at Penn State for a little bit, was really leaning towards the Nittany Lions, and the Gators end up getting him back in the fold there when Carson Beck goes to Georgia. So things could have gone a whole lot differently right now down here in Gainesville, but what a tremendous story. I have a chance not only to cover the Gators, but cover high school football here in the area, and there are several schools, Buchholz, Gainesville High School, and then Eastside High School, where Richardson played, and to be frank, they probably had the worst competition level of the area. And so what I often saw was a collapsing pocket, an 8-man rush, where this man, as young as a sophomore, 6'2", would consistently curl out of the pocket, make guys miss, dash for 40 yards, throw on the run for 50 yards, as you saw, while taking hit after hit. You saw that pass to Jacob Copeland. I saw several of those. What is incredible, Tony, is how it's translating. I came away from those games saying, hey, man amongst boys, he could be a Division I football player, most likely will be. Do I think that people are going to be making Tim Tebow, Cam Newton types of
crazy stuff on the interstate this morning?
Let's be frank, also has some hyperbole to that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Still has a lot to prove. The sample size really makes you salivate, but this is always been a guy that you said, hey, what would happen against real competition? He still has yet to really do this against an SEC defense. And we all know that's really the next step. When he's out there doing what Kyle Pitts did last year, making guys like Kelvin Joseph be embarrassed on a Saturday night, then I think we're going to sit there and be like, okay, what the heck? Where did this come from? I mean, this guy went to the Elite 11, was considered one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the class, but I don't think anyone was pegging him as this top all-time quarterback, potentially.
Well, Lord, I mean, even if they were pegging him, it's his choice,
Bryce Young, the top quarterback out of Mater Dei, who's ranked.
How you doing, Tony?
7 Sports Composite rankings. It's the number 20 all-time prospect, and that
Yes.
goes back 20 years. That's incredible there. But
Hey, what's
Richardson
up,
right
Ahmad?
now
How you
makes
doing,
me
man?
think that he could end up being that good, if not better.
And let it not go unnoticed that the coach at USC is looking for his job, as this kid from Alabama, who's got $1 million NIL deal, if you believe that. I don't know if I believe that or not, but whatever. Is playing all the way across the country in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which is sort of unbelievable.
Yeah, man.
But
Talk all the
those
time,
two things
remember?
are connected because USC generally
We're
is
friends
gonna
on
get those
Steam
kids
now.
from Mater
I'm in
Dei,
a
but,
Convoy if
such is
if
life
you're
in
on.
2021. The Richardson kid who we're talking about, for those that are uninitiated and haven't
All that
seen him
info is in the
at
description.
Florida thus far, you're forgiven for that because, as our guest Graham Hall, who was with the Gainesville Sun, said,
Driving that Volvo
thus
still.
far, Florida has yet to be tested. They've had a couple of warm-up games, but I will say this. It is off the charts, the difference in Emory Jones and him. And so I'm going to ask you this. What is the latest? Because the last we saw that young man, who I find to be one of the more electrifying young players in college football, in a sport full of them, was him going into the end zone, making a Michael Vick type of play with his feet, long run into the end zone, and then pulling up and grabbing his hamstring, which can be, Graham, it's a tough proposition in sports when you start grabbing your hamstring. And
54
what are you hearing
miles.
internally in terms of his status this week moving forward?
Well, Dan Mullen described it in pretty vague terms, saying he had some, quote, tightness of the hamstrings when we met with him yesterday afternoon. Whether you want to take that as he had a severe cramp, he actually had a pull, strain, whatever word you want to use, you think hamstring and you think, okay, this could be anything from something that heals up in a matter of days to a week,
Absolutely.
to a month, if not longer. That's certainly a concern here in Florida. You don't want to rush anyone back. And before we hopped on here, I think you and I both were of the understanding and agreement that, this is something that you would
I'll
want
send you the
to
info
sit
on
and rest
Steam.
your dynamic quarterback if you were heading into a slate of USF or FAU. No disrespect to those opponents. Really anyone on Florida's schedule, except you can make a case for Georgia and, of course, this upcoming matchup with Alabama.
Yeah.
They, I think, are in agreement with the fan base and the outside world that having Richardson available Saturday gives them the best chance because of his dynamic capability. But with that being said, one of the consistent storylines in college football has always been, how can injury provide another opportunity?
There you go, man. I sent you the
so-and-so.
info on Steam.
And that so-and-so in this case may be Emory Jones.
Join us.
Look at what Emory Jones has seen and lived with as Anthony Richardson got on campus in December of 2019. This was a guy who thought he was waiting his turn and was going to get that turn, and he would maybe get some growing pains like we're seeing right now. And then this guy Richardson comes in, who at the time 17 years old.
There's a lot of stuff happening on the interstate here.
Months ago, and he looks like he's already capable of doing everything you can do, if not more. What that does for a player mentally and in the game, I can only imagine when you already know that your coach is telling you, hey, I'm going to go to the younger quarterback who didn't have to wait as long as you did. And if you may not play up to your potential and aren't as dynamic as him, you could lose time after waiting for 4 years. That's really what Emory Jones is facing. If Anthony Richardson can't go on Saturday and you have to go solely with Emory Jones no matter what there, that may help him settle down in a sense because he doesn't have to force things downfield, make the big play. I know that you're going to make the argument, how could he have been forcing things in the third quarter when the
Exciting,
game
folks. We got our first player to join us on our convoy.
They're putting in all the backup.
Good friend of mine.
Getting more reps, and if you're Emory Jones, you haven't necessarily
driving the
settled
Volvo,
down
though. We're going to have to loan him some money.
Get him confident.
Get him a Kenworth or a Peterbilt.
He easily could have seen why he may have been rushing things on Saturday, pushing himself. If he doesn't have anyone breathing down his neck who, let's be honest, may potentially be this next great SEC quarterback, maybe that is the best thing for Emory Jones on Saturday, no matter whether fans or media want to accept that Richardson may just not be able to play because of that hamstring injury and to preserve his longevity. It's still week 3. a loss to Alabama would not ultimately kill Florida's season if they can run the table and set up that rematch in Atlanta in December, and then you may have a healthy Richardson, and who knows? I don't know what will ultimately happen here, but my gut tells me that you will still see both quarterbacks on Saturday. Who knows how many snaps Richardson will be able to play, or if he'll even be capable of running the way that we saw those first 2 weeks. I don't really know right now because of the hamstring uncertainties that come with that injury.
Yeah, and the thing we've seen, right, is you put kids like that out there and they tell you they're okay, and it's a very difficult thing to detect for the sports medicine folks. So there's a lot of mystery around that part of the anatomy as it relates to athletes. That's why those things are very difficult to heal.
And then turn right.
You know, it's just very tough. So with that said, put him out there because you feel like you need him in the Alabama game. If I'm reading between the lines, they probably don't feel like they need him to beat Tennessee. Is that would that be a fair read on that? Like, let's say they put him out there and they can use him and he gets a little dinged up in this game. They probably feel like they have enough with Emory Jones to get through Tennessee. Is that a fair read, Graham?
So when you're in the menu, hit continue game,
based on what we've seen
and then down here in this menu, you're going to hit convoys.
Approaches games, especially SEC play. I think that everyone in Gainesville is of the consensus that you haven't seen Florida's offense at its fullest. You know, people love using the term vanilla.
Yeah.
This is given a total reason, the first two opponents, for Florida to do that. I have no doubt.
And you're going to look for O'Malley.
Things like what you saw when the Gators had to go into Starkville and use Kadarius Toney to throw the only touchdown pass of that game.
Yep.
You know, I have no doubt that you're going to see some of those things against whether Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, no doubt. And those have historically been, I think, the most successful plays in Dan Mullen's bag. So I do think that offensively you're going to see an elevation in terms of both sides of the football for the Gators. And just based on what I've seen from Tennessee right now, I don't know. They may have that same gear. We have to give them the benefit of the doubt as well. But I think there's reason to believe that right now Florida just may have a higher ceiling going into that matchup.
I think that's a fair statement. Although I do think that could be an interesting game if Emory Jones plays to the level that it looks like he's playing at right now, and they decide to hold Richardson. I think that could be an interesting game. About Emory Jones, though, you know, this is a Florida team that lost a bunch of playmakers, and might it be that he's just kind of not dynamic enough to carry the day for a club that really needs more of a playmaker back there at quarterback?
It certainly is a possibility. I think that with Emory Jones, he kind of is in between being your prototypical pro-style quarterback and that dynamic dual threat quarterback, the Pat White type, Anthony Richardson hybrid everyone loves to see. I don't know what he's capable of being either of those right now. The one thing I think we haven't necessarily seen is his arm strength. He's capable of making these downfield throws that Felipe Franks was capable of making, that Kyle Trask was making, the 40-yard throws. A lot of what I've seen out of Emory Jones, I'll be honest, is a little bit atypical. Going with his first read, just not looking composed in the pocket, settling into his footwork. I mean, he looks off balance at times to me, and that's just not what we've seen in the, albeit small glimpses we've had in practice. So I do kind of, my gut tells me we are going to see some of those things improve, but right now, absolutely, it's cause for concern. And I think based on what he's put on film in the first two games, seeing how he got picked off by those two in-state programs here, you would think that a lot of SEC defenses think that they can get him figured out if that really is his ceiling right now.
Graham, what are question marks for Florida coming into this game, besides the quarterback situation and how that's going to play out? What are other question marks through two games that maybe this club hasn't answered and won't be able to answer until they get into some SEC competition like they're going to see with Alabama this week in a 3:30 Eastern kick?
Really, the back end of their defense has a lot of question marks in my mind.
You started the safety
position. I think that Trey Dean got leveled in the first kickoff against FAU and just hasn't looked right since. I think that they're starting a lot of underclassmen back there as well. So you look at facing a quarterback like Bryce Young who can carry up, that is absolutely a cause for concern. We all know that there's really one de facto leader in the secondary there, and that's Kyer Elam, who many people project to be a possible first-round pick. He had a beautiful interception against USF, one-handed, came across his body, diving. But aside from that, there's some other questions in this defense. Aside from the secondary, I think that linebacker is one that many people are missing. The big injury heading into this weekend matchup that it just isn't getting the amount of publicity that Anthony Richardson is getting is the loss of Ventrell Miller. He got injured against USF, Florida's leading tackler the past 2 seasons. Their middle linebacker there, really kind of they use the term professor on the defense in recent years. The guy who kind of is supposed to know what everyone else is doing. You heard me, Freudian slip of genius. They kind of refer to some of those guys being able to know everyone else's situation. It takes a high cerebral level of play. You can't just fill that spot overnight. The guy
where are you at
that has the same level of production as a guy like Ventrell Miller, who many people project to be a day 2 pick in this past NFL draft before he returned to Florida. If he can't play against Alabama, I've heard that injury could also keep him out into that Tennessee matchup. That's a huge blow to a Florida defense that, let's be honest, the kind of, I think, juxtaposition, irony, whatever you want to call it down here, is that everyone's so focused on the quarterback position when, if you can take anything away from last season, the quarterback position was not what hurt Florida's chances. It was the defense. It was the miscues on the defensive end, the lack of development on the interior of the defensive line. You name it, Florida had defensive issues, and we haven't necessarily in the first 2 games seen a major correction, especially after they just got outscored 17-7 by the Bulls, who have been shut out in their last 4 Power 5 games. So I think Florida has more defensive questions right now than quarterback questions heading into this matchup, especially with the injury to Ventrell Miller now. So that is going to be a huge focus coming into this Alabama game. If Alabama tears them up for 60 points, it's, if you're Tennessee, you have to be salivating at the thought that you could get into a shootout with the Gators.
Yeah. If Tennessee doesn't shoot themselves in the foot based on what I've seen from Tennessee's quarterback play. But that said, the Nick Saban and the way they looked against Miami, they were just so workmanlike, the way they just ripped Miami apart. Which kind of leads me to this. Miami was in a real shootout the other day, and Dale Jones, who's a coach over there at App State, I got to be careful the way I choose my words here, but Miami had to make some plays late to hold on against App State. Now, I don't know. That ain't your dad's Miami. Meanwhile, another brethren in the state, the Florida State Seminoles had. It just keeps getting worse for them.
You up there in Washington?
What occurred over the weekend? How do we explain this? Like, what is going on? And Florida's not exactly elite like they once were. So, what is going on? Do you feel like, as somebody that covers the prep ranks there as well as the collegiate ranks, what's going on down there with the major college teams? Where's all the talent going?
Well, yeah, you kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier with the difference today. You mentioned it Saturday in California. Once Florida had a huge drop-off, especially the University of Florida, the Will Muschamp years into the Jim McElwain years, going on 6 years there after the height of the Urban Meyer era. You really also, that coincided with, I think, a massive acceleration in the research in recruiting, and you really saw there was a belief that the state of Florida, states like Texas, had a wealth of prospects already, but the rise of the 24/7 sports deposits, the various other sources, all the other camps that have come about, forget that recruiting information used to be done all over the telephone. I know you know all of this stuff, but we just had so much more available, so much more film, huddle on prospects that you have seen in the downfall of the Florida teams, especially Miami being really kind of irrelevant since the early 2000s, and then Florida State, when Jimbo Fisher kind of left on his way out the door, didn't leave too much talent along with his Christmas tree in the driveway. You really saw all these other teams, Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, that really competed for national championships, if not won national championships.
Right. And then
Alabama,
continue
Clemson,
straight
Florida,
on.
Ohio State even come into the state of Florida and take a whole lot of talent out. And you add in the transfer portal that has kind of these areas that they have been very successful, just go other places because there really is no longer only the local programs competing for them. They want to play for the programs that are competitive, and that is why.
Dang, another car pulled over, man.
But they use the term shooting themselves in the foot. The one thing all these programs have in common is they've all had 3+
Go straight on.
coaching changes, really since 2009. Since Nick Saban won his first 6 national championships at Alabama. Their decline, combined with the close proximity, we have a joke in North Florida that you live in the Panhandle, you live in South Alabama. That's how dominant right now Alabama is at recruiting players like Jacob Copeland out of Pensacola. They're stealing players.
Go straight on.
Jokingly at a high rate out of the state of Florida, and that is
Keep
also
right,
pushing
and then
programs
turn right.
like Miami, Florida State, and Florida a little bit farther and farther down.
Turn right.
Alabama's got to be stopped. The rest of college football, she's got to say,
Gotta stop them.
Set them up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honeypot, Nick Saban. I don't know. We got to figure out a way to get them off the throne because they are deleterious by their presence
Your route guidance
for the
is now
entire
finished.
sport of college football. But Graham, on the way out, with that said, give me your sense of where Florida is coming into the Bama game. The line in that thing, I think, is 15. Do you think the Gators play them close, or do they get rolled in this game? Where are you?
I really could see this go in 2 ways. I think Florida could keep it close, similar to what we saw in the SEC championship game. If they can trade touchdowns, consistently stay in the game with this Alabama team, I think that Florida could absolutely have a chance. I said before that I don't think that we've seen the entirety of this Florida offensive playbook. Emory Jones has been in the system for 4 years. He knows far, far more creative plays than what we have seen so far out of him. I really think that the Florida play calling in the first 2 games was designed to really push him to improve upon his weaknesses. That's what is so concerning. But he has, I think, a lot more strength that he hasn't shown. If Richardson can go, I think will absolutely add to their chances. Like I also said, the focus is going to be on the defense in my mind. I think Bryce Young has a chance of coming in and throwing for 450 yards, 5 touchdowns,
and that
really
Heck,
coming out of Gainesville as the
yeah.
Heisman leader if he isn't already. But I think that Florida does have a chance. If it is a close game, especially late, if Florida shows up, we may see the first packed stadium. That's, I think, something we also haven't really focused on. We haven't seen a packed stadium here in 2 years, really since that Auburn game in 2019 that was deafening. If the crowd can influence and help rattle a young quarterback, Bryce Young only has played in 9 collegiate games, making his 3rd start on Saturday. If historically the Swamp, one of the loudest stadiums in the country, can rattle him, the Gators could have a chance. I just want to see a good game on Saturday.
What's attendance been like first couple games?
Pretty sparse. I'll be honest, the FAU game was well attended, especially from the student section that has been notoriously late to show up to a lot of games, not really taking advantage of the $20 student tickets from recent years.
$20?
But, there's not too much else to do in
Jesus
Gainesville. But
Christ.
the USF game, pretty poor. It was billed as a sellout. Once that game started at 1 o'clock, I think you saw
$20 for a student ticket.
But a lot of the Tampa fans had the first chance in a long time
when you
to see a
pay
regular
to go to
season
school
contest
there.
right down the road from Gainesville. First regular season game there since 1989, and it was only about 60% full, if you ask me. Only about 40,000 fans in that game. So if you could see, they announced it was 66,000, but I had the lake in Iowa to tell you. If you believe that, if they can get 90,000 in the stands to make this place deafening, throw Bryce Young off his game. I actually just wrote about that on Gatorsports.com. I could see Florida having a chance because you have to give them some credit. They were in the SEC championship game last year, and they only lost by 6 points, which was closer than, really anyone played that. It's an Alabama team that, as Manny Diaz said last week, stormed into the national championship game. So we'll see what happens on Saturday.
Yeah, they made Manny Diaz guys look like they were absolutely child's play. Like they had and Miami's okay, but they had no business being on the field with those guys. On the way out, how does a living listener interact with you, read your work? Go ahead and do the plugs, man. Hit it.
Hey, I really appreciate it. We're going to have to do this very, very soon. I'm a big fan of what you guys do up there. You do a great job. You can follow me at Twitter at GrahamHall_. Got to work on getting the underscore removed, hopefully one day. I write for the Gainesville Sun. You can read my work in the Gainesville Sun and read me online at Gatorsports.com. We also put out 2 podcasts a week during the football season. You can listen to those anywhere where you get your podcast, Apple, you name it. And you can find me here hopefully pretty soon, Tony. It's a pleasure.
Graham Hall, much love. Thanks, buddy. Good talking to you.
Thanks. Y'all take care up there.
Yeah. Bry's a big fan of the show of record. Bry, what do you suspect happens with them and Alabama this week? And from a Tennessee standpoint, what am I cheering for in that game?
I've heard
Meteor
during the offseason that it actually might be beneficial that if Florida either wins the game outright or gets destroyed. If they win the game outright, they'll be on an emotional high that Tennessee can take advantage of. They could be on cloud nine. If they get destroyed, that can also damage their psyche heading into the Tennessee game. So I kind of think if it's just like the SEC championship game a year ago, or I guess it was just several, like 8 or 9 months ago, it actually, that might be the worst thing that could happen. I don't know really if any scenario helps Tennessee at all, but it seems like I'd either want the Gators to win or get destroyed.
We are!
I think the Richardson deal is really interesting because the thing I was fishing for with him is, Florida internally has to have the hubris that we can win the Tennessee game without Richardson, so let's go ahead and see if he can go in the Alabama game, and if he can't, then we'll grab him a couple weeks down the line. Put him out there.
It's encouraging to me that he said they've had defensive issues down here.
I tried to tell Florida all offseason, look, you don't lose people in your secondary. They lost. And not have the issues they've had, and then this thing with Ventrell Miller, I don't like seeing anybody get hurt. That's quarterback of their defense, though. That's a big loss. I mean, this people laughed at me back in the summer because they thought I was doing a radio bit. I thought this Florida game's in reach.
One more.
I still think it's in reach. Tennessee hasn't looked like a world beater. And we'll see what Florida has on Saturday. We will see what they have.
I'll make this confession. I haven't been afraid of a Florida team since Tebow walked off that campus.
Why should you be? They're not elite. They're not elite anymore.
Not looked to me like they're just not at that level.
No, they're not elite anymore. They're not elite.
And they haven't won a championship since Tebow left. Look it up. But unfortunately, their record against Tennessee reflects something different, which is so frustrating and maddening about the whole thing.
Well, and it's like our last guest said, you got to have competent coaching.
Gotta buy it. No,
competent coaching matters. It's one more reason for me to despise Chip Kelly. 865-200-5402 the number. 865-200-5402 the number. You as a living listener, how do you respond to what you just heard as you start thinking about the Florida game in a week and a half? Dare I say, look ahead. What do you hope happens this weekend? Do you want to see the Richardson kid play, or do you want to see them hold him out? I mean, there's just so much interesting stuff to chew on. And TGMD, get some pep in your step, baby. He's going to join us on the other side. Will Matt Dixon join me in cheering for the Crimson Tide of Alabama? I don't know if I've ever cheered for him, but I might just have to go there. I might just have to go there after this. Alumni Hall is your Tennessee shopping destination with the absolute best selection of gear. I'm talking the best stuff from amazing brands like Nike, Nike Golf, Champion, and more. Plus, Alumni Hall has great women's fashion and gear for the kids, too. And Alumni Hall offers 10% student and military discounts in store. Plus, you can shop online anytime from anywhere in the world at alumnihall.com. That's alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, your go-to shopping destination for Tennessee gear. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting, because every customer counts, and I mean, no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high-character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you. Not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne.
Right.
Celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Easier way to get there.
It's football time all over East Tennessee, and you don't want to cook. So for your next tailgate or football party, let Calhoun's handle the heavy lifting. Visit any of Calhoun's 9 East Tennessee locations on your way to the game and pick up a Calhoun's Feed 5 or Feed 10 family pack. You already know nothing goes better with football than Calhoun's world-famous barbecue. Now you can get the Calhoun's Feed 5 or Feed 10 family pack with amazing barbecue ribs. Calhoun's Feed 5 or Feed 10 family pack is a touchdown in a box. And now with Calhoun's barbecue or ribs. Add the buns, Smoky Mountain baked beans, and creamy coleslaw, and you're winning. Calhoun's even throws in the plates, napkins, and utensils for an easy-to-carry box. And the best part, it's just under $6 per person for the barbecue. Calhoun's Feed 5 or Feed 10 family pack is undefeated, and now with ribs. And brisket available on Wednesdays. Call ahead and order online or from our convenient app, and we'll have it ready and waiting. The Feed 5 and Feed 10 family pack from Calhoun's. One of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, Calhoun's. Eat local. Eat good. Tony Basilio here from my good friend Marcos Garza in your Garza Law Firm. Pretty jacked up that it's football time in Tennessee.
How about you?
Well, I still have word of a troubling development and what we can do about it. Because carpetbaggers remain in our area. Out-of-town law firms, carpetbaggers, have been swarming in the East Tennessee lately. Firms from Memphis, Chattanooga, Birmingham, they've stormed into our area. You've seen the ads on television. You've heard some of these new ads that are popping up on radio. Let me ask you a question. Wouldn't you rather do business with somebody that's live and local? A local law firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and my friends at your Garza Law Firm are exactly that. These are your neighbors, your friends, our neighbors and friends. Support local
$4 million now in the bank.
Marcos Garza and the Garza Law Firm, always there for me when I have a need. For Fish Hospitality Pantry, and also our Machi Tailgate, just to name a couple of things. They're live and local. They're one of us. They're of our earth. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries, and accident matters. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at GarzaLaw.com. And they will be for many, many years to come. Live, local, one of us, one of you. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help. Basilio for Smoothie King. And look who's showing up at Smoothie King these days. It's TK and TK Jr., the dynamic duo, looking better than ever.
Great to be here doing the delicious, nutritious Smoothie King. Something I have been doing for going on 20 years. Making Smoothie King as a meal replacement helps me keep the leg up on food I can still take.
Let the old man grow and make him feel a little better about himself. Pops taught me a lot of things, and one of them was eat healthy by drinking Smoothie King. Good nutrition, never tasted so good, and it's easy to eat on the move. Just roll to the drive-thru and get your favorite Smoothie King.
2 peas in a pod.
It should be there.
VFL and SKFL.
Check
what a
your
combination. Almost as good as the offering.
your Steam
right
inventory
here at
or your
Smoothie King.
email you set
Slim,
up with Steam.
fitness, wellness, and break time
To
blends.
accept it.
Lean one, gladiator, and the bulk of all great courses for your different needs. Greek yogurt, paleo, keto, and peanut power plus. I absolutely love the vegan, nutty super grain. Just look at these guns, Junior.
Get over yourself, Pop. Smoothie King is what we're here to talk about. The new metabolism food smoothies are delicious and
Another car broke down.
angel food
Dang.
and strawberry kiwi breeze are just a few of the most popular choices on the menu.
Thanks for the Smoothie King love, guys. Let's keep Tommy Boy Marine and his crew blending smoothies on Rocky Top for years to come. Delicious and nutritious. nutritious. The healthy alternative to fast food. Say it with me, Kelly Duo. Smoothie King.
Coming in late.
He's coming in late, isn't he, TK?
Yeah.
What are we going to do with him?
Tune in this Saturday. When the sun sets for the day, NASCAR's biggest stars come out to play. Witness the thrill of the NASCAR playoffs at Bristol Motor Speedway this weekend. Don't miss a minute of the action and tune in this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on NBCSN. That's NBC Sports Network.
Now I gotta. And you are in fact cheering for Alabama this weekend to blow Florida out. Soften them up for us.
Hell no, Tone. I'm never cheering for Alabama. I'm never cheering for Alabama in the football.
Matt, it's the play. It's the play, Matt, this week. It's the play as a fan.
Well, that's fine. I think
no,
that's
Tony,
I'm never cheering for Alabama to win the game ever.
This stuff.
Doesn't matter who they're playing against.
My mom told. Tell him,
the best thing about that game is somebody's got to lose. One of them's got to lose, and the worst thing about that game is one of them's going to win.
My mom pulled me aside when I was a kid, and she said, "Son, let me tell you something. Time and a place for everything in this life." She said, "Now that's not the time and the place what you just did, and that's why your father just came off the couch and smashed you." She said, "But there is a time and a place for everything." I was like horse playing, messing around with my dad one time when I was a young kid, and he said, "Stop."
Here we go. The rain, baby.
With him. And then he like showed me his teeth. My mom was like, "Time and a place." Matt, there's a time and a place for everything. This is the time and this is the place for you to
There's a time and place for everything.
Give us a hearty roll tide. Go ahead, you can do it like that old neck that calls.
Nah, you're never gonna get that out of me, Tom. Never.
Our last guest.
Yeah, I'm not cheering for them. Don't want them to win at all.
Oh no.
Brian.
And I absolutely hate Florida as well. So.
Brian, they backed in. And
oh, could you let it be?
How lucky is that he was still there?
I wanna hold
when our fans see, because a lot of our fans have not seen this guy yet. When they see Brian, how good this freaking guy is, he looks like Michael Vick running around out there with a rocket arm.
I don't know the words, but I know the melody to this song. I can't stop loving you.
And I didn't watch their whole game either. I saw them bits and pieces, and when he got in there, it didn't take him long to jump off the page at you.
That's a great point. And that's what that's Cinco's thing about these 5-star guys. I love what Cinco says about 5-star. Two things Cinco says is true. Goofy recruitment, goofy career. That is so true. True.
Oh, no.
Second thing that he says, which is right on the money, is if you're a 5-star player in any of these in these sports we watch, somebody that's a novice fan should be able to go, oh, okay, that's what they look like. I see. Oh, I see. Okay, I see that. And that's what he does. He's an atletico par excellence.
He's a young Dak Prescott.
That's what he is, yeah. You know, our last guest said that the conventional thought from Florida might be use him in the Alabama game, and if something happens with him, they're probably not going to need him in the Tennessee game to defeat us. Which I guess if I was Florida, I'd feel the same way too. I'd shoot my shot this week with Alabama. Why wouldn't you?
Well, that's what they did last year with Tennessee, and they even did it with LSU last year. They came back to burn them, but no, you treat Tennessee like a scrimmage, which is what they're doing.
And then
it's what Alabama does. It's what Georgia does.
Not weird.
But they're focused on this week. They think they actually have a chance with Alabama, which I don't. But if they think they do, then they'll put everything into it. And I would have probably had the opposite mind thing. lacking, and I would have probably set the Richardson this week and just kind of, prepared him for the rest of the season and not take a beat down this week.
I would never put a guy out there, and I'm not saying they're doing this, but I would never put a guy out there that's compromised
what does it say
against that bunch from Alabama on defense. That doesn't seem like a recipe to keep a guy healthy. That's just not, to me. Now, maybe he's 100% healthy and they're just getting, they're just messing with someone.
I will say this will probably be one of the better atmospheres that Florida's had for a home game in a long time. Because they don't play Georgia at home. Florida State's kind of down. I mean, this is a really big game for them. They haven't had full crowds in at least 2 years, and down there it might even be more. So it'll probably be a really, really lively crowd. So you never know what can happen when you are in those types of games. But I don't think they have enough blend. But you never know. Now maybe Florida gets lucky all the time.
Hey, Bri, I won't put words in our previous guest's mouth. How many people did he say was at that last game, Bri, that was supposed to be really well attended with South Florida fans?
Like maybe 40,000 at that game in Tampa. In a pro stadium. But I think that's a lot to do with the fact South Florida's just not very good at all.
865-200-5402. We get illegal, then we'll get some calls in.
1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W25980. Powell, Knoxville.
Living legal and large TV's the man in charge. We got a game on you. 865-200-5402, or so the Atlanta Braves said. They got 4.5 on you. You're a Sillies fan. Let's go back to our busy phones. We'll get as many people in here as humanly possible today on the show. The show that gives you Mo. Your thoughts on how we're going to play this weekend from a fan's perspective when I'm sitting there and we're doing Garza Law fifth quarter fan reaction once Tennessee and Tennessee Tech go final around 5:30. But did the Vols score 6 figures? The Vols are going to score 6 figures this week.
Turn left.
Get into the hundreds of thousands of points. Let's go to the phones. And let's get our first call in. Hello and welcome to our first caller.
Tony B.
There he is, right on the spot.
Yeah, I'm on the spot.
So answer me this from a Tennessee perspective. What do we want to see? Do you want to see a blowout from Florida? Do we want to see Alabama blow Florida out, or do we want to see this be a close game? What do we want to see from a Tennessee perspective?
First of all, Tony B, it's like you peed on my shoe and called it lemon.
Why?
Because you know what? I called you yesterday, and I told you, I said, man, my quarterback Richardson got hurt, and I'm a little nervous about that. I didn't tell you I was scared that we was going to come here to Tennessee, going to come down there and beat us and all that good stuff. It's just like everything I say, you take out of context, bro. You know what I mean? You got to play back on your radio station, whatever you do on your podcast, where you can go back and say what I said, bro. Listen, we're going to play
Show of record. Thousands of people play it back. It's the show of, and they all heard you. I had 2 emails yesterday. You got some love yesterday from some people for showing some humanity on here, for what I call breaking character, breaking kayfabe. People gave you some love yesterday for showing some fear on here, which I thought was. And listen, I'm fearful. Listen, I'm fearful of what I've seen from Joe Milton thus far. If you play like that at home, and our quarterback play, and Hendon Hooker, if you play like that at home, what's it going to look like on the road? I'm fearful of our quarterback play. I'm going to be honest, and you're fearful of yours. And now your middle linebackers, now your linebackers out, the brains of the operation with your hoopty secondary. You heard that, man. I know in your mind, I know that the fear was only compounding because you were on hold for that.
Tony, nobody said Miller was out. Miller got hurt. He got hurt, but he might be back by the time Alabama game. Nobody said he was he was just out indefinitely. He might not play.
Brian, that man said he's going to be lost for a couple games, right, Brian? Isn't that what that man said?
He said he
That's
might
the
be.
impression I kind of got.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Did you get the same impression, Brian, when he said Milton might be out for 2 or 3 games too?
Okay.
Milton might be out for 2 or 3 games.
Yeah. Okay. So guess what? That's
What?
what they're going to. They don't tell you everything. They just telling you. Let me tell you something. Richardson pulled up. It didn't like he grabbed it like he was hurt.
Right.
He just, you know what? When he went over there, he grimaced a little bit. And let me tell you this, Tony B. I told you that Richardson was the man. I wanted.
You did back in the summer. You did. Yep.
I did, and I told you that's what we was gonna get. And y'all played him off. Y'all did not.
No.
Look at that.
I didn't believe you. I didn't believe you.
Nobody did. But like I said, I'm telling you now that he ain't spiced the crowd. It was over 90,000 when they was at home. Their home game was over 90,000 in the Gators. And I told you that then that they had more people in the swamp than they did in Neyland Stadium that night. So you remember that, Brian?
I don't think that's what he said, though. He didn't tell us that. He didn't say it was over 90,000
I did.
first
I
game.
said it. I said that we had over 90,000.
Our last guest didn't say that. I think I'm going to go with...
I think he was talking about the Alabama crowd.
Yeah. Are you talking about adding up both games that they just played in front of for 90,000?
Go Vols! No. I got a guy here talking about go Vols, man. You see?
Put him on. I want to talk to him. Put him on.
You want to put him on?
That's called caller of the hour.
I want to talk to him.
Hey, what's going on, Tony?
Can I ask you something?
Yes, sir.
Is this guy playing a part on the radio, or is he like that in real life?
He's playing a part.
Okay.
I think he looks up the news before he calls y'all just to give y'all some grief. But he do walk around with some Gator stuff on.
What?
That is.
He's a clown then. So he really wears the Florida stuff around?
He wore a Florida hat. That's all I can see. You know what I mean? I'm in his office right now. He got a little Florida hat on. That's about it.
He's the worst.
You know what I mean?
Well.
Hey, you see how it is, Tony B, that you just take people and turn your back on me. You just do that.
What did I do? No, I asked him if you're as good a guy as you usually are on here, if you're that good a guy at work. That's what I asked him.
You see how you turn it around, Tony
I didn't turn it around. That's what I asked. You can go back and listen to it later. That's what I asked the guy.
Hey, let me tell you something.
Yes.
All right.
These guys
back on the
hate
road
us
here.
Florida game. The guy I work right next to is a Florida
very
Gator
rare
fan.
for this game,
it's
luckily.
more Florida Gator fans here than probably Tennessee fans. Probably. You got guys go from Nebraska and all. Listen, but Tony B, we're not scared in Florida. We're going to beat Tennessee no matter what. No matter what quarterback we play with. Let me put this out there for you, since you want to hear it. Emory Jones is going to beat you.
You had such a good call yesterday when you were afraid. You came in here all somber yesterday.
You talked about me. You talked about me, Tony B. Like I just changed my mind about the Gators. I'm a Gator from here.
I didn't say you weren't a Gator. You were concerned, and it was quality radio because you were breaking kayfabe.
I was concerned.
Well,
like
even
I said,
Matt
now
Dixon called me at home. Even Matt Dixon called me at home last night, and he said, he said Florida had a really good call.
Tony, all my calls are good calls, man, because I present you with things you have to think about. I present you with stuff you have to think about every day, Tony.
Facts.
That's why I call every day.
Back on the road.
I drop facts. I drop knowledge on you. Your middle linebacker is going to be out.
Miller's hurt. I got you.
Miller's hurt.
But like I said, our secondary is weak.
It ain't going to be Miller time down there.
But if Milton's behind your center, and if they get past our safeties, guess what? It's overthrown.
Matt, don't let him talk like that, Matt. We don't know that he's going to overthrow, Matt. Matt, we don't know that he's going to overthrow. Then we can pass the safeties, Matt. We don't know that, Matt. Don't let him talk like that, Matt.
No, the humidity down there might, the ball might not travel as far, so it might actually hit guys in stride down there.
My great guitar player Lance McCleskey said maybe we're going to put 50-pound arm weights on Milton to calibrate his arm to dial him back.
How about a 50-pound backpack?
Florida, you're a clown. 865.
He needs to start throwing those wounded ducks like Tim Tebow used to. That would take some air out of the ball.
865-200-5402. Good point, Matt. Let's get our next call in. I say right now, I full-throatedly am full Alabama this week. I hope they rip Florida apart and weaken that opponent, because I want to go to Florida and get a dubs and make it 2 in a row on them. And they'll have they'll have 100,000 people, whatever it is this week, and they'll have about 35,000 next week. If Alabama does what I think Alabama's going to do to them, which is the soul-crushing experience of bringing CCCP, USSSSR, crumbling tide down there. And it's so ironic that they're red, because Gorbachev could have been coaching them back in the day. Orby or Gorby. Hello and welcome into our next call. And by the way, Nick Saban is morphing into Brezhnev. Hello and welcome into our next caller.
John C. Mayberry Al. How's it going,
What's up, buddy?
Long time no talk.
Yeah, man.
Hey, I had to chime in though here today on the convo. Tony, we better hope that Florida's starting quarterback is completely healthy, because we can take backup quarterbacks with no legs and make them Heisman Trophy winners around here. We don't want that backup quarterback playing, man.
Matty's got a good point. That Richardson guy's liable to throw for 500 on us and emerge as like the Heisman Trophy favorite.
No, that don't happen to the Vols.
We did it 2 years in a row with Treon Harris.
I've never seen anything like that.
Tyler Murphy, who I think wound up transferring to UConn and couldn't do anything there, but he beat Tennessee.
Run. Tyler Murphy. That's a name I haven't heard of. Neon Treon Harris. That is classic. When you let that guy come to Neyland Stadium and beat you, good gosh.
One damn time.
Who threw the pick six there for them against start that one game that 1 year?
That would be Jeff Driscoll. Threw a pick six and Devontae Swafford got it, and Tennessee had an early lead.
God bless.
And that was the Nathan Peterman experience in Gainesville, which is the last time I'm ever going to that hellhole.
Tony, we don't even have to. It don't even have to be the backup quarterback. It could be a wide receiver playing quarterback.
No question. I mean, that Treon Harris guy wasn't a quarterback. That guy was horrible.
Hey, Tony, can I put in a shameless plug for you, Paul?
I don't know. Why? Go ahead.
No, it's all right, bud.
All right, man. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Respect what we're doing here. Let's get our next call in. Hello and welcome.
Hey, Cilio. This is Sean.
Yo, Sean. Welcome in, buddy.
Tony, I'm pretty upset about college football this year. I've tried to listen. I'm a shift worker, so this is hard for me to call. But this ball game that's coming up this Saturday, what channel is it on?
Which one?
The Tennessee Tech game.
ESPN Plus.
Okay. Now, Brian, you said something earlier a couple weeks ago. I think it might have even been during the baseball tournament. What the hell is the SEC alternative channel for if they don't broadcast anything?
Right. Good question.
Well, I mean, good question.
Yes.
Now,
this is
Tony, let me take you back
because every SEC team has to play. You know, they're not playing each other yet, so you've got a lot of games like this. And if we're going to get them all on television, you could use that channel and get pretty much all of them televised. But they don't, for whatever reason. I guess they just want to try to get more money out of you by putting the ESPN Plus. It's like the Peacock thing with NBC.
That's the model they're going to. ESPN's going to go to their Plus model eventually.
Let me take you back here. When they gave us SEC Network, the motto was, if you have ESPN, you're going to get it, and you're never going to miss another SEC game.
Yep.
Now, let's go back about 15 years. I called you one day, said, Cilio, you're not going to believe this. They're having a Tennessee Day on ESPN Classic, and we don't even get that channel. You said, now, Sean, just hold on. They want you to call Comcast, and they want you to request the channel. Well, lo and behold, they switched broadcasting from Classic to ESPN2. We got the Tennessee Day, and pretty soon they offered that channel, and I ordered it. Then around the Derek Dooley days, they told us, oh, we got this new channel, ESPNU. It's going to broadcast all these college games. You've got to get it. Well, we had to have it for that North Carolina State game, which I believe that was the highlight of his career. But we had to have it. Now they tell us, well, we got to get SEC Network. You're never going to miss another SEC
Hell
game.
yeah.
And then they killed
Rage
that
Against the
CSS
Machine.
channel. Now here, lo and behold, a couple years down the road, I'm paying $300 a month for cable, and I can't get the damn Tennessee game, and I live in Tennessee. I couldn't get the ET versus Vandy game, and I live in Tennessee.
That's correct.
We have got to stop this. We have got to tell Comcast we're not putting up with this crap anymore.
If he just could get everyone to not get anything, order streaming for anything, that would do it. But people are going to go ahead and pay the extra to watch it.
Listen, and I'll tell you this, that ESPN Plus is a great value.
What a great
For $5 a month, you get every game known to mankind that's televised.
Sir.
Oh, Tony,
I hate to say that.
fucking me to death.
Well, I'm just telling you, you could... what I've done is... I found a cheap alternative, which is YouTube TV. Now, it's about 35 seconds behind. It drives Brian crazy.
And how do you gamble live with that?
Oh, when you're 35 seconds behind, I don't know how you gamble live with that.
Well, there you go. I mean, especially in baseball.
Yes. You're 35 seconds behind. I mean, Matt, get off me. Brian's like... Brian's sitting there and he's just like, this is absurd. You're 35 seconds. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's $50 a month.
Is this weekend's game, is it on ESPN Plus only, or is it the SEC Plus?
No, it's all. They've got SEC Plus now. I'd never even heard of it till opening weekend, and half the games in the conference were on that channel.
Yeah, it's ESPN Plus. And he's right. They did have several games that were on that tier, and the whole idea is, now that we've got you paying for the additional SEC network, we're now going to take the games that shit. You are right in what you're pointing out. There's no question.
What's next? Now that I'm going to break down, get this stupid ESPN Plus. I'm not going to do it for this game. That's another. And then what?
ESPN Plus. You're right. Then that's exactly, because they'll have another tier, and then another tier, and then another tier, and before you know it, they're going to get $50 out of you. You're right.
I mean, what's ESPNU for? We don't really watch anything on there ever anymore.
No, and it was a nice little channel at one time.
Until we got this, you had to have the SEC network.
They put Auburn's game on the regular SEC network against Alabama State, crying out loud, the other day.
Yeah, I live in Knoxville. Look at what's on the ESPN network.
You have a good point. Like the
why wouldn't they even localize it?
I like it because I can watch that 1AA football, and I like that 1AA football, so that's kind of fun for me.
You were talking about Dion's team a couple Sundays ago. Yep. Did you see Eddie George at Tennessee State?
I did.
I kind of like that little program. I wish I could get that off the ground.
You need to get ESPN Plus and support them.
They were on NFL Network.
Nice. I love that. I love that the NFL Network is...
And Charles did the game.
Yes. Charles Davis?
Yeah, the Tennessee guy. It was a really great broadcast.
I love him.
Anyway, guys, I stayed up to make this call. I've called before about the ESPNU, about the ESPN Classic. Now it's the ESPN Plus. Now it's the SEC Plus.
Were you working all night?
They're killing us. Yeah.
God bless
but I had to
you,
get in live.
SEC Alternate, SEC Alternate Plus, SEC Alternate Plus Plus.
Broadcast in the middle of the night and you're not even live. But, so they're not going to regionalize even the Tennessee Tech game this week. I was hoping you'd tell me, well, they're going to put it on here.
Go ahead, Matt. You were going to say.
If the game's on SEC Plus, I'm pretty sure that you can stream it online with a cable subscription.
No, I'm pretty sure you cannot.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I'm pretty
sure. I got 9 TVs, bro. I'm pretty sure I got everything you can get now.
Oh, man.
That's it. I don't know about that. That's interesting because
the ESPN Plus you have to pay for, but I think when it's SEC Network Plus, that as long as you have like a cable subscription, which you obviously have, you should be able to stream SEC Plus games, I believe. I watched a lot of our basketball games last year through that.
I think he's right.
Well, do you have to have some super new box they're talking about?
No, I think you just go online.
No, you have to stream it through through your internet service.
Yeah, so like a device, like a laptop, whatever. Yeah.
If you have a smart TV, it probably works like the ESPN.
I've got Xfinity Stream, and I use.
Oh yeah, you could do that then.
It's not on there.
Yeah, you ought to look into that.
I looked into it. It ain't on there. None of those SEC Plus games are available.
Matt, now you're getting me yelled at, Matt. Now Matt's getting me. Matt, you're getting me yelled at now, Matt.
Well, I'm just trying to help the guy. The guy wants to watch his balls. I want to find a way.
Actually, the funniest thing is I don't. I'm going to totally ignore this game like I did the Western Carolina game. I'm more excited about Nebraska and Oklahoma. I'm not going to pay any attention to this stupid game because it shouldn't even happen. The only thing that makes me mad is they promised me I would not miss an SEC game with the SEC network. And now here we are a couple years down the road. I'm not only missing SEC games, now in the third week of the season, I'm going to miss the Tennessee game. It's not even going to be on.
Sean,
that's stupid. That East Tennessee Vandy game should have been on in Knoxville.
There's no question. No, that should have been on.
And the Tennessee Tech game should be on in Knoxville.
Sean, you're the man. Thank you.
Word.
Word.
I can understand if you're out of state, if you're like in Georgia somewhere and you can't get Tennessee versus Tennessee Tech, but he's right. It should be available to every single person that lives in Tennessee without having to pay extra for that.
I mean, the East Tennessee State Vanderbilt game, especially considering how it turned out, that's a disgrace that wasn't on. I mean, hell, they should have broken into ABC that night and just blown right over whatever was on there. Just taken over the channel. It made everybody watch that. 865-200-540. We come back. I want to get Matt's thoughts on.
Sean needs to call Comcast.
I know.
Yeah, he'd be on hold until this time tomorrow.
Yeah. They probably have worse customer service than UT Athletics.
They're literally the root of every kind of evil at Comcast. No offense to them. Because it's the love of money.
No offense.
After this.
TB here, and Seniors Helping Seniors is something I'm excited to tell you about. This is a life-giving change in the way we treat and care for the seniors among us. If you have a senior in your life, I hope you'll consider Seniors Helping Seniors. Seniors Helping Seniors help seniors maintain their independence and live out their lives at home with dignity using caregivers who are compassionate fellow seniors throughout East Tennessee. Our in-home care doesn't just feel like a service. It's more like getting help from a friend. We're all about companionship and a true connection at Seniors Helping Seniors. Call 865-269-4483. That's 865-269-4483. Online at seniorshelpingseniors.com. Seniors Helping Seniors. Tony Basilio here from my good friend Marcos Garza in your Garza Law Firm. Pretty jacked up that it's football time in Tennessee. How about you? Well, I still have word of a troubling development and what we can do about it. Because carpetbaggers remain in our area. Out-of-town law firms, carpetbaggers, have been swarming in the East Tennessee lately. Firms from Memphis, Chattanooga, Birmingham, they've stormed into our area. You've seen the ads on television. You've heard some of these new ads that are popping up on radio. Let me ask you a question. Wouldn't you rather do business with somebody that's live and local? A local law firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and my friends at your Garza Law Firm are exactly that. These are your neighbors, your friends, our neighbors and friends. Support local causes year-round. Marcos Garza and the Garza Law Firm, always there for me when I have a need. For Fish Hospitality Pantry and also our Machi Tailgate, just to name a couple of things. They're live and local. They're one of us. They're of our earth. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries, and accident matters. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at GarzaLaw.com. And they will be for many, many years to come. Live, local, one of us, one of you. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Tune in this Saturday when the sun sets for the day. NASCAR's biggest stars come out to play. Witness the thrill of the NASCAR playoff.
Ending on it while
To call Adam Buckles. V655. Take care of the heavy lifting. You can't beat that patented thin crust taste and Alidio's other goodies like spaghetti, calzone, and Vito's favorite, the Stromboli. Mrs. B
still loves the big CD.
Alidio's Pizza.
Yeah,
your
Tony.
weather workhorse. Alidio's Pizza, Callahan Drive at Central Avenue Pike. Say it, kids! Basilio here with Scottish Chuck.
Tony, I might be Scottish, and my name may have a variation of Chuck, but that's not why we're here today.
We're here today because Sensible Roofing Solutions is now SRS Renovations. What does it mean, Scottish Chuck?
We are still continuing to focus on roof jobs, both shingles and metal roofs. Projects large and small in the area, but we've also expanded to home improvement. A lot of interior work, foundation work, flooring, windows, doors, even siding, gutters, basically a turnkey operation.
Interior remodels?
Yes.
Porches?
Porches, definitely.
Kitchens?
We can do kitchens.
Bath?
And bath.
And much, much more?
Essentially, we now do it all when it comes to your renovation needs.
You heard Scottish Chuck. From kitchen and bath to a possible room addition, one call does it all. 865-803-2674. Check out the work on Facebook.
Got 3 more
SRS
Wyoming event
Renovations.
deliveries.
See the link at TonyBasilio.com. 865-803-2674. On Facebook at SRS Renovations. Say it with me, Scottish Chuck. SRS Renovations. The coronavirus pandemic has really brought the importance of healthy habits to the forefront. And my friends at Performance Medicine want to encourage you to stay ahead in the game by continuing to practice proper steps to getting and staying healthy. By washing your hands, staying away from people's personal space, getting proper rest, and eating a healthy diet, plus taking your vitamins. To help you with your vitamin needs, Performance Medicine's offering curbside pickup for Vitatrim shots. Why Vitatrim shots? Vitatrim shots are a special combination of B1, B2, B6 plus B12 and thiamine, plus other good stuff including choline and carotene, all designed to boost your immune system to help keep you healthy. Your Vitatrim shots from Performance Medicine come in a light-sensitive package, complete with hypodermic needles and alcohol preps for your safety. Mixed together, the Vitatrim shots can give you the energy boost you need for your immune system. Just call April in the Knoxville office at 865-249-7672. That's 865-249-7672. Or head to performancemedicine.net for more on Vitatrim shots and how they can perhaps help keep you ahead of the game. And as always, perform your best and stay healthy with Performance Medicine. But chill, back with you, 865-200-5402.
What's up, Chilio?
Back 28 past the hour on the one, the only. It's a show of record. Your Tony Basilio show, where an open line is a natural resource. If you want to jump in, there's one available for you now. By the way, regarding Sean's call and how to watch this weekend's game, it's pretty simple. SEC Alternative channel is only used when an SEC versus SEC matchup has to be shown. So games outnumber ESPN stations. What you have to do, Sean, and anybody listening, is if you're worried you're going to get locked out this weekend, just download the ESPN app. If you download the ESPN app, you can watch it. You can watch any of those games. You could have watched the East Tennessee State game. It was there, according to my info, Maycion. So all you have to do is download the ESPN app, and SEC Network Plus is a complimentary digital platform which has a bunch of events, and it's free for you. ESPN Plus is free for you. Select non-conference football and basketball games are going to appear on ESPN Plus, okay? So if you have a subscription, you get that for nothing. So there you have it. SEC Network Plus is complimentary to the SEC Network. So if you see something that says SEC Plus, that means you can get it. And you don't have to pay for it if you already have one of those subscriptions. So I'm glad we could clear that up for you or anybody else listening. Let's go back to our phones, because they really are nickel and diming all of us to death. There's no question that's true.
Yep.
Hello and welcome into our next call.
Tony, what's up? Greg from Atlanta.
Hey, greetings from Atlanta to you.
Hey, Tony, let me help everybody out here. All you have to do is have really good internet, or good internet per se. Go on YouTube.
Good internet or good
and
internet
look
per
up
se?
best IPTV service.
Oh gosh.
Watch the video, do what they say, and subscribe. You'll have 6,000 channels for $20 a month. You'll watch every game.
Oh God.
Every MLB, NFL, NCAA.
Disclaimer.
Oh, we're down to illegal streaming
not
now. I love it.
Condone this. We do not promote it in any way.
How much they charge for this stuff?
I agree with that.
We're talking $300 a month.
I agree with that.
I think at one point mine was up to $240.
Hey, you got to pay baseball players $15-20 million a year. NFL players got to make $20 million. Why? Why did they have to make that kind of money?
Market determines the value, Tony.
You got it.
That was for your listener. If he'll do that, you don't have to worry about missing any game. The other day, Alcorn State and somebody was on. You get them all.
Beautiful.
Every day.
Beautiful.
If you like the UFC, like Tony Balls and you do, that's the way to get it.
Beautiful. And what's it called again? What do you got to put in your search on? Not that I want to help people do that. But what's it called again?
Yeah. No.
Best IPTV service.
No.
Interesting.
No.
They walk you through how to do it.
You'll get
Lord,
20
Tony,
different
don't
videos.
do it. It's illegal.
You
can't go to
and
jail.
They walk you through how to do it, and you pay like $20 a month, and away you go.
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir. All you got to do is basically have it does not work on Roku, because Roku does not allow outside apps. But Amazon Fire Sticks, if you have a smart TV with a web browser, you can do that kind of stuff. And I would, if you do it, I would get IP Vanish, which is a VPN.
Yeah, just get a VPN.
Protected network.
Do anything like that.
So whoever your provider
God,
is
I would not trust
can't
that.
block your internet stream. And that's about $8 a month. So you're looking maybe $28 a month at the most.
Matt Dix is getting his alleged mind educated over here right now.
You can literally do it. If you went home today, and when I first did, I had no idea what I was doing. I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to figure this out. I'm going to have pay somebody to come do it. You can literally get it started in 30 minutes.
How many
Like
channels?
if you went
How
home
many
today,
channels a month you get on that deal?
6,000. If you wanted to watch TV from Spain, you can watch TV from Spain. You get NFL Sunday Ticket, you get ES Premium College. If you want to watch cricket and rugby, you get that.
Brian Hartman, have you looked into it yet?
It's like a lady coming on. It's got a red box.
Yeah.
And it's got like some CNN, some news channel.
So you're looking at it already, Brian?
Yeah, I decided to type it in there. IPTV service in July 21. There's several options there.
Yeah, I mean, literally just pick one and follow it, and there's a bunch of different providers there.
Yeah, I would
afraid
not
you're gonna end up in
trust
prison,
that
my
at
friend?
all. Screw prison. Prison would be the least of my worries. Identity theft, personal data theft. Are you kidding me? Why would anybody do that?
To receive it.
Oh God.
It's illegal to broadcast it. So you can't. You can't get it in Tony's house and then broadcast it down the street from Brian.
Well, when I watch YouTube, I'm just going to claim that I'm a sovereign citizen if something happens.
Oh Lord.
I like those people. I'm a sovereign citizen, damn it. Okay, you're under arrest. I'm a sovereign citizen. Okay, you're still under arrest. I love those people, though.
I mean, I would think.
Get a job, get a life.
Before they came and got me, they'd get the guy who's right there on YouTube showing you how to do it and telling you how to do it.
Wow. Well, you just you educated the masses
don't send
here.
them to my house or anything. But
you educated the masses, brother.
I was
100 miles, let's go, baby.
But it worked. Don't get caught up in the let's say you can buy a whole year. Those things, I've had 2 of them that just went away. So you do.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you want to go month to month because that keeps you tied to them and hooked to them, and they can't take your money and go do whatever they're going to do.
Exactly.
Get shut down.
Interesting.
Yes. So they'll say, oh, you can get $200 for the entire year, save you $20. No, just do the monthly, because if it goes down, I mean, you're out $200. But I mean, really, there'd only be 1 month of Comcast. You'll need the internet though.
Comcast is just so darn evil. No offense to
$240.
That's just so evil.
It was insane.
And I had the DirecTV for a while, and they got evil. They were just it never ended because we got to make Atlanta Brave players got to make 17, 18, 25, 30, 40,
and then on
$50 million a year.
Thing, every time it would rain, there's a big game on, and the speed just gets blotchy, and you can't see anything.
It's
like 15 minutes.
That was really, really good, honestly, until AT&T bought them out.
Yep.
Their customer service went terrible.
Kind of like the Braves. The Braves were really good until AT&T bought them out. Go figure.
Well, yes, Liberty Media, cheapest people I've ever seen.
Hey, thanks, Greg. Good talking to you. Greg brought the word with the cheater box today. Why won't you bring the cheater boxes back? I want a damn cheater box.
Oh, I missed those.
Hey, I'll never
had
forget
one as a kid.
Back in the 90s, Matt. Have I ever told you about this? When I lent my box out to some Tennessee basketball assistant coaches. I had a cheater box back in the day. I'll tell them myself here. And I never got it back. So, I forget who it would have been. But they got it. They got it to get a wrestling pay-per-view. They borrowed it from me. They came out to my place and got it from me to get a wrestling pay-per-view so they could watch a wrestling pay-per-view.
I hope it was like one of the good ones, like a WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble. We all had that friend or uncle who had the cheater box back in the 90s.
I loved.
Yeah, we used to watch wrestling all the time.
Yep, the cheater box was so great, wasn't it?
Oh, this is incredible.
One night.
How many watch lists is that guy on now?
Well, one night I was watching a concert, right? And they said, call in to win a free whatever. And I started to pick the phone up. And Laura goes, what are you doing? And I said, I want to win that guitar. She said, idiot, you're getting this off a cheater box. They're going to throw you in jail. She said, that's why they're doing that. You fool. You fool. So, yeah, that
B saving Tony from the P.
They just take advantage of us so much with this stuff. They just take advantage of us. I know that makes me a bad guy. But Greg, I hope they don't. Greg, I like you as a caller. I hope you're not calling from the pokey next time you call in. Because you just dropped it on the show of record here in front of thousands and thousands of people.
That's like Harvey Updike calling Feinbaum to say he just put cyanide all over Auburn's campus.
Yes, the late, great Harvey Updike, no less. Hello.
He even used what name he used so they could easily trace it, find it, and make sure he was telling the truth.
Hello and welcome into our next call.
D40.
You're live on the air.
All right, Tony, the one thing that I love about
here we go.
Xfinity
is
the free radio stations that I could pick, that I could get.
Gosh, of course.
And all the radio sports talk shows that I love listening to.
Bill, can't you get those like with the various apps, like like the iHeartRadio and that kind of thing?
iHeartRadio, yes, I could pick up iHeart.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing that I noticed, the sports animal in 104.5, they broke their affiliation with iHeart.
What? Where are they now?
It looks like I cannot seem to pick them up. I tried and I didn't get anything.
Where are they now?
They're not on Odyssey. I think they just broke their affiliation with iHeart.
That's weird.
You know, because look, and I'm thinking, did iHeart do something to make those executives at Cumulus mad?
Wow.
Of course, those are stations that are owned by Cumulus.
Matt, were you aware of this?
Tech support hour here.
I wasn't aware of this. When I listen to the radio, it's usually through apps.
That's what he's saying. He's saying you can't get them through the app, right? Right, Bill?
That's right. Especially iHeartRadio. And I looked through Odyssey, nothing there.
And then turn right.
Speaking of Odyssey, this morning I listened to 97.5. I listened to John Kincaid this morning.
Turn right.
How was that?
Oh, my Lord.
Buddy, I like him. He is good. I think he starts off in the morning, and I think right now probably D is on 97.5.
So Bill's taking a show that was off into the ditch and taking it and Bill, you're pulling us into the weeds. Are you for that or against that?
And then turn right.
I'm against that. I'm against. If I'm pulling you into the weeds, I'm sorry.
But you're my man. Much love to you.
You know,
are you going to go on YouTube like that last caller said and get a good cheater box and figure out how to do what you're doing and get 5,000 channels from Spain and the Ivory Coast?
I'm not.
What do you think, Bill?
It was a nice ride.
Where's Bill? Who's a great caller, by the way.
Village.
He might have walked into that spot in his house that Comcast doesn't let him talk out of.
He might have gotten picked off.
Oh, God.
Yeah, the Dickey brothers.
I actually think the iHeartRadio thing, I noticed that the other week. I was trying to listen to a couple of games while I was mowing, and none of them would work without paying for it. So I actually think Bill's on to something there.
What are they doing? Sports Animal charging people to listen to their stuff?
You know, it was through the iHeartRadio app. You kind of just search by college in sports, and you can listen to all these games, and none of them would come up without a subscription.
Now that did happen to me on TuneIn the other day. I was trying to listen because TuneIn's always been a very good vehicle to listen to, like out of market games. You know, you're driving around or whatever, and I tried to dial up some college football on TuneIn, and they wanted me to pay like $10 a month for some. I'm like, screw that. I ain't paying $10 a month. I'm going to go on YouTube, Brian, and what am I going to put in my YouTube channel?
IPTV service, I guess.
Thank you. You talk about a show that is... I mean,
we're actually trying to teach everyone else how to get on watch list, I guess.
Well, I wouldn't let the Andy Griffith guy get a plug-in, and now the freaking thing, now we've gotten off into the... I mean, we're in the highball weeds right now. Let's go back to our phones.
now we're streaming illegal cable and probably paying for terrorists.
Let's go back. So, Matt, you think those things are tied to, like, overseas deals, and it can't be good, right?
Absolutely. You're funding the Taliban when you subscribe to that kind of stuff.
Let's go back. I mean,
That's
who knows?
Great line. That's a great
TikTok
line. All right, we got $40,468.
I think it's like a Russian or a Chinese concern.
Halfway through Chinese.
Hello and
Tony.
welcome into our next call.
Halfway to 42.
Tony B, Brownie Boy, Matt, Texas. What's going on?
What's up, brother Josh? How you doing?
Why did that not
doing good.
Count?
You're dodging Subarus, trying to make a living.
Subarus. Yep, everybody's got one.
Hey, Tony, do you think we're going to see? Is there a chance we see all three of these quarterbacks Saturday, or is it no way?
I mean, there's always a chance. Sure, absolutely. I'm curious as to what their rotation is. I'm curious as to what conclusions they're going to come to. I'm curious as to what the reaction's going to be if Joe Milton starts and continues to overthrow people, and are they going to just make him their quarterback for Florida for, come hell or high water? I mean, there's a lot of things that are curious about this thing. Josh, what do you think?
To me, it seems like we always go into that Florida game uncertain at quarterback. And it turns to crap pretty early, and then we just start juggling quarterbacks.
That
around.
is certainly a recurring theme around here. There's no question. The uncertainty. It would sure be fun to have them have some uncertainty at quarterback, but of course, as we know, that's not going to end well either because it never does.
Yeah, why you got to start on the Braves?
Wait, it's only $6,000.
Why you got to start on Atlanta Braves?
What I say about the Braves?
What?
I forgot, honestly. AT&T.
Yeah, since AT&T. It's a pretty good line, isn't it? Hey, when Turner had him, he spent the money to get him over the top. And then as soon as they became part of that deal, they treated them like Comcast treats our customers.
Yeah, Hanoi James, she can't wait to get rid of them, I guess.
Yep, old Hanoi James over there, yep.
But,
those are good old days.
What do you think? How's this going in, Basilio? I believe it's going to come down to the last week.
No, you guys won the division weeks ago. Phillies won't even be.
I don't know, man. We got a West Coast trip and all kinds of stuff. I don't know.
You know what you
did?
I don't know about that. You know what you did that's really terrific is at the trade deadline, your general manager went out there and won the day, and it should be executive of the year. When you lose the best young player in baseball, and you win a division because of the pickups you had, because they decided not to sit tight. That was, if I'm a Braves fan, I am thrilled.
Well, everybody, they should have kept the Duvall guy. They should have re-signed him anyway. I don't know why they didn't.
You're right. They outthought themselves on that. Yep.
Anyway, Dixon, what do you think? What's your answer at quarterback?
They can hit a deep pass.
I still think Milton gives them the best chance to win 7 or 8 games. I know 8's probably out of the question now, but you got to figure out a way to connect on some of these passes. I'm not ready to give up on Milton yet, and I'm the first to criticize quarterback play here, but I still think there's something there that you can unlock, kind of like we did with Crompton in 09. But my problem is I think you can win 5 or 6 games with any of the 3, but the problem is if you start rotating and can't figure out which one that is, you might only end up with 4 wins, and that's the one thing you can't do.
Well, living up here in Kingsport, I'm surrounded by these chicken farmers from Southwest Virginia, all these Texas fans, and I watch that hooker play a lot, and
he's really loose with the football. He's always been that way. I don't know. And Milton, have you ever seen a guy get better from accuracy? I mean, was that Compton's problem, or I don't know.
No, Crompton,
I've never seen it.
Yeah, Crompton was all up in his own head. This guy here is extra specially inaccurate on that deep ball, and I'm with you. I mean, look, I'm not going to pass judgment on the guy. All I know is that quarter plus that he played Saturday, that's about as bad throwing the football, wide open passes. That one throw he missed, that's wide open. You just can't miss that on a Division I field and keep a job. You just can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so consistent that it doesn't make sense.
Really, it should have been 06
you just never see head games with football players.
I don't know why I didn't get so mad. I think that makes guys good defense coordinators. I think he's getting a lot out of nothing, honestly.
People go out in the backyard and throw deep passes to each other.
Really nice
what
job
are you doing, man?
They really are. They're doing a nice job over there.
I kind of feel like Heupel gets guys open. If we just have somebody throwing the ball, hell, we can win a game we're not supposed to. And this team could overachieve.
Hey, Josh, don't laugh at me, but Tennessee will be an absolute live dog when they go to Florida. They'll have a chance to win that game.
I wish it was later in the year and we were healthy. I don't know. But anyway, I wanted to holler at you guys.
Thank you, brother.
Y'all hang in there. Take care.
I couldn't disagree with that more. Because when you're Tennessee, you want to play people early in the year, because later in the year is when those injuries are really going to start to take their toll. You got your frontline guys right now. Go play that game. Absolutely go play that game with your frontline guys. Because the deeper we get into that bench, the deeper we get into those reserves, the more and more difficult. And Josh, I'm not trying to shut you down here, but I couldn't disagree with a point more than that one. Because the deeper we go, the more difficult it's going to get, because that's really diminishing returns when you get right down to it. 865-200-5402. Again, 865-200-5402. The phone calls continue, the fun, the frivolity on the show of record where we give you the key to unlock 7,000 channels. It's football time all over East Tennessee, and you don't want to cook. So for your next tailgate or football party, let Calhoun's handle the heavy lifting. Visit any of Calhoun's 9 East Tennessee locations on your way to the game and pick up a Calhoun's Feed 5 or Feed 10 family pack. You already know nothing goes better with football than Calhoun's world-famous barbecue. Now you can get the Calhoun's Feed 5 or Feed 10 family pack with amazing barbecue ribs. Calhoun's Feed 5 or Feed 10 family pack is a touchdown in a box. And now with Calhoun's barbecue or ribs. Add the buns, Smoky Mountain baked beans, and creamy coleslaw, and you're winning. Calhoun's even throws in the plates, napkins, and utensils for an easy-to-carry box. And the best part, it's just under $6 per person for the barbecue. Calhoun's Feed 5 or Feed 10 family pack is undefeated, and now with ribs. And brisket available on Wednesdays. Call ahead and order online or from our convenient app, and we'll have it ready and waiting. The Feed 5 and Feed 10 family pack from Calhoun's. One of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, Calhoun's. Eat local. Eat good. Everyone's workplace is changing, and Office Furniture Outfitters is here to help you roll with the changes. Whether you're moving your office, rearranging, or setting up a new office at home or wherever, OFO has what you need. New and used options in stock, ready to go. Desks, sit-to-stand desks, numerous desk chairs, too small. Now, if you've
been doing that for over
market online at KnoxvilleRealEstateGroup.com. Life never
skip
stops
ahead
moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
It's electric.
TV here for Advent Electric. It's electric. Advent Electric, among the Southeast premier residential and commercial electrician. Advent Electric. PB back with you, 865-200-5402. One of the great segments maybe ever we just did, because it was so random, so strange, so out of nowhere, so odd, and just kind of like on brand for what we're doing here, which is having fun on a Tennessee Tech Tuesday. To the radio listener, we're getting ready to expire. To the rest of us, we're going to hang out and break it down scientifically in my little corner of the world over at TonyBasilio.com. If you're on hold, stay right there. All lines are jammed, as they will stay throughout. In the meantime, I want to thank you for being with us today. God willing, we're going to come back. We're going to fire up this mothership one more time tomorrow and make it happen with you. In the meantime, I hope you have yourself a great, blessed,
Dwight Gooden,
and wonderful day. Get out there and enjoy this Tuesday that God's given us. And until we meet again, for all those behind the scenes, I say to you, peace. And in the immortal words of Don Cornelius, love.
WJBE, 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AC.
Norm McDonald, man.
Sucks. And I will ask Brian Hartman now if he gets the Don Cornelius reference. Brian, do you get the Don Cornelius reference?
Not really.
Do you know who Don Cornelius is, Brian?
Turn right.
You having grown up in Oka Ridge.
Not without Goop. No, I don't.
Which, by the way, my friend Young had a brother. When I attended Tennessee, he had a brother. He was a Korean guy, and I said, "Where's your brother live?" And he goes, Oka Ridge.
Let's go here.
So he used to say it Oka Ridge. So I've always thought of, and Young was one of the funniest people ever. One night he climbed on top of the torchbearer and roasted hot dogs up there, and then he had diarrhea for like 3 days afterwards.
Oh my God.
And he was so convinced, Matt, that the gas in the torchbearer gave him diarrhea instead of the really bad hot dogs he was eating. Young sat up there. If you could see this little Korean dude was sitting up on the torchbearer, sitting up there, climbed up there. He's an athletic little bugger. And he was up there, and he had a Tennessee hat on. Somewhere I've got photos of this. He's got like a orange Tennessee hat, like sideways. And he's like, "Oh, hot dogs! Oh!"
So there was no police that drove by and told him to get on, get down.
Oh no. No, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever. You know, when you're a school student, you're up all hours of the night.
Yep.
Oh, Cool Young. We called him Cool Young. I'll have to tell you guys some Cool Young stories one time. Cool Young used to go, "Oh, go see my brother, Oka Ridge." When he met Laura the first time, he goes, "Oh, very pretty, very pretty." And he said to me, he goes, "You not so pretty, you not so pretty." Cool Young.
Right on.
Cool Young made me laugh and giggle, man. He made me laugh and giggle. Youngster, if you're out there, old Youngie. Old Youngie's out there. Cilio loves you, Youngie. 865-200-5402 if you want to jump in the hunt and in the mix with us. This is your Basilio show. Let's get our next call in without further ado. We're going to break it down scientifically with you, moving right to left on your radio dial, now that we're not on the radio anymore. And let's get our next call in without further ado. Hello and welcome into our next call.
Hey, John.
Hey.
Jeff and Blaine.
Welcome in,
Great
Blaine.
show as always.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Hey, I had a couple comments. I didn't get to call in the post game.
Mm-hmm.
But sort of aligned with what you guys are talking about. Try not to go off the rails. Like the last segment, although it was great radio.
Okay. We on sleep.
I'm kind of classifying my comments as good, bad, and ugly. The good from that game, of course, looking forward to really the Florida game, like you were saying. Tennessee Tech we ought to beat them by 20 if we put our threes in, if we got threes. But the defense, you guys have talked about, it's
nope, wrong one.
I don't know that I've seen a Tennessee defense give up 40-plus points, but yet still feel good about the defense, and mainly because they gave you a chance to win there at the end. They stopped them a couple of times and gave the ball back to our offense.
Can't complain about the defense
when we needed it big time. And to do that late in the game, everyone's tired. I think that speaks to the character of the defense rather than maybe a blown play earlier that gives up big yardage. The other thing, we were in that game, and I think some people probably forget that our best wide receiver was out. I'm guessing, was he out? He was out. I was at the game, but I never saw him come back in.
Yeah, and then top 2 running backs were out too, and one of your best linemen.
That sucked too, because Small was running really well.
That's my point is, with our greatest vertical threat out, and then a starting, offensive lineman, and both of the running backs. If you'd have told me with less than 5 minutes to go in the game, we were on the 1 or 2 yard line ready to tie the game, I think we'd have taken that. So not to dismiss the stuff that happened that preceded that, but at the same time, those are facts. And so to see this coaching staff and this team work within those parameters, I think is a positive. It's a bright spot. The one criticism that I did want to get, I guess you classify it bad or ugly, is that up the middle play there at that 4th and goal.
Yeah.
I just don't. And you've said this, Tony. And I guess he showed us what he's going to do on a short yardage 4th down like that. Is why do you not let him go under center? And Cooper Mays was out, but heck, the other guy had been in there the whole time. Line him up under center and get a yard.
That's the dumbest shit in college football when you run a spread style offense.
Makes no sense to me, but I think that's kind of what the way they're going to play. Matt, is that right?
They're going to be shotgun based, but I agree. I thought that was a really, really bad call. One, to not challenge the spot, and then 2, that play call when you had a little bit of a break to where you could have gotten together and made sure you got the right play. I think they were probably limited in what they felt comfortable calling because, like the caller said, we had half of our starting lineup was out. So and when you're centering and quarterback are out,
made some money. What we get?
That kind of limits what you can do if you do the under center stuff.
36.52.
Even just something from the pistol. But I thought that was a really bad call. But on the flip side, if Hendon Hooker pulls it and keeps it, he gets the first down for sure, and he might have scored. So
90 miles,
as bad as
baby. Let's go.
It turned out, if Hooker had pulled it, he at least gets the first down.
Yeah, and Heupel's supposed to have this sexy offense, and I'm not down on it. Obviously,
I was expecting something more like Mike Leach. Whoa, it's going to be great. We're going to throw for 500 yards a game, run for 100.
But to me, I don't think you put that decision in.
It's a basic spread.
He's coming off the bench, obviously. I don't think you put that decision in on him. I think you roll him out, try to get it with his legs, maybe have a tight end flash over too in case there's an open guy. Again, I don't make millions of dollars to coach this team, but it doesn't seem that difficult. But the last thing I'll say when I get out the door here, I want Hooker to start, but I do acknowledge that Milton has a much higher ceiling. He may go, if he does start and he hits some of these long balls, Milton's the type that can beat a Florida and have a career day and then lose to South Carolina at home because he's overthrown people. So we'll see. I'm with him. Go Vols. Great show,
That's a good point.
Thank you. Great talking to you.
Good callers.
And
that's a good point.
And that's where we are.
The deal with Milton.
And that's where we are. Yeah. If you're honest, you'll be honest about it. That's where we are, and that's a great point because it's the truth. It's not what people want to hear, though, Matt. Because people want their pain to go away. You know.
Yeah, and it's very understandable, and I think we all get it.
Yep.
But that's why it's just so unfair to whoever the quarterback is, and to Heupel and this coaching staff to project what the last staff did at quarterback to them, because it's two different situations. We're 2 games in, and we're not. It's not year 3 where we're overthrowing Dominic Wood Anderson over the middle in Gainesville and not making a sub in that game. I mean, we're getting ready to play our 3rd game with this coaching staff, so you got to at least give them a chance to see if they can unlock something with Milton, because if he hits just 2 of those deep balls in that game, it's a completely different game, and you never know what happens. And maybe he does that in Gainesville. Maybe he connects on 2 of those, and all of a sudden, you're up 14.
That would be Tennessee.
Because
he's wearing number 7. What if he can only hit the long ball on the road?
They're going to keep throwing him.
It's the only time he can hit it.
I mean, you can say what you want to say.
We saw it in Georgia last year. Garantano hit. Josh Palmer made 2 great plays down the sideline there, and then we make a goal line stand. We went into the locker room with the lead there. Now, for some reason, Pruitt went in there and chewed the team out like they were that 17 game, and we were down 41-0. And that's kind of where he lost the team. But I mean, we had the lead at Georgia last year at halftime because of hitting those deep shots.
865-200-5402. I think it's really interesting that you've heard some of the players say they're going to respond really well to that loss, and it's not going to be like the past couple of years here.
Me personally,
is talk cheap? I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't dwell on a loss, but I would just know that the better team lost.
But at the same time, one has to wonder.
There's no excuse to lose that game.
How are these guys?
Got to get some drives going on offense. Got to
what is all that going to mean?
The field just a little bit. Like, good Lord, man.
What will the response to that be? I think it's kind of interesting. Let's go back to our phones. And we'll get our next call in if you want to join us. Next, Factual and Furious. Hello and welcome into our next call. You're on Extra Time Overtime. Hello.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey, it's Denny.
Hey, buddy. Welcome in.
Hey, been in and out of the car, so I don't know if you guys have mentioned Paris Harrelson or not today. In his passing yesterday.
Yeah, another sad passing.
No, but it's really hard to comprehend that happened. Yeah, we did do a thing on the blog about it. It's wow, really hard to comprehend that, man. What a sweet guy Paris Harrelson was.
Had he released what happened?
No, I have no idea what happened, man.
Yeah, I don't either. So I'll tell you some funny stories about Paris if I can.
Sure.
So I grew up in a small town, where me and my family are from, and so I'd never gone to school with a black person until I came to UT. I just grew up in a little country town, and so I come to UT in 2002. Probably weighed 130 pounds, 5'8", little tiny guy. So I'm, nervous, and it's a new culture and just how big Knoxville was compared to what I was used to. So I'm sitting in a sociology discussion class, the first class of it. I'm the first one there. And then in walks, I didn't know at the time, but in walks Paris Harrelson. Just a monster of a man. So he sits down beside of me, right beside of me. I'm sitting right in the middle of the class. He sits right beside of me and goes, he said, "How's it going, little white dude?" I said, "Not bad, gigantic black man." And he laughed, and we became really good friends through college.
That's neat.
And even kept up with him a little bit after he got drafted with the 49ers. I hadn't talked to him in years, but another good one. So I think 02 and 03 we played our basketball season. We beat Florida at home, and I believe they were ranked like number 1 or 2 in the country at the time. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, of course.
We beat Florida at home.
Of course.
So I'm sitting with
confusing.
Mondre Dickerson and Kevin Simon at the basketball game.
Wow.
So we stormed the court after we win, and we were probably 20 rows up or something. And Pear said, he's always called me JD. He's like, JD, get on my back. You're going to get hurt down there. So I'm riding on Paris Harrelson's back all the way down the stairs to the court and end up on his shoulders.
What the hell?
Just a great guy. The guy was just a big teddy bear. Just cared about people, and really hate to see. Hate to hear that happened.
You know, to show you what kind of a person, a character he was, I noticed in his obituary from the 49ers that when he played 7 seasons there, and then when he got done, he went to the Saints, and then the year after that, they brought him back as a director of former player relations for them.
Right.
Which, you know, if you're going to help people that are in tough spots or whatever it is, and he was that guy, and, you know, that kind of speaks to his character, man.
Oh, he was a great guy. And the last one, was it, I can't remember if it was 02, I believe, when we played Florida at home. Casey Clausen, it was pouring down rain, and Clausen fumbled about 15 times.
Yes.
So
Miami.
Next week, I asked Pierce today, how's practice been on Casey? And he said, he started laughing, and he goes, the coaches have soaked footballs in dish soap, and they're sitting there with a water hose spraying him in the face, making him take snaps.
That's great, man.
All right, you guys have a good one.
Yes, thank you. That was an unbelievable game, that Florida game, when poor Clausen couldn't hold the ball.
Miami.
Talk about something so on brand for Tennessee.
That game was like a lot of hype around that game because everyone thought that year Tennessee was going to reach to the greatness that they've been, and they were going to overcome the SEC championship game loss and be right back there playing for the national championship.
Yep.
They lost that game, and that went out the door.
Should have been, right? They were very good that year. There's no reason.
That's when they had some injuries pop up, too.
Yep. But the game in the rain, game in the rain, and poor Clausen couldn't hold on to the ball, and 3:30 start on CBS. And
how much money? Only 60.
Yeah, Rex Grossman, like in the same rain, hit like a 70-yard TD bomb to. I guess I forget who the receiver was, but he had no problem managing the rain.
Paul Stanley's body double. Guy looks just like Paul Stanley from
Just
Kiss.
like 96.
Let's get our next call in. Hello and welcome.
Hey, Tony, 30 man, bro.
Hey, buddy, what's up?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. And that was a really good story, sir. I enjoyed that. And that's one of the things about being a fan and listening to you guys. You get a chance to hear some things that you never heard or knew about, and that was a pretty cool story. Whoever the caller was in front of me. Mm-hmm. I was wondering why that I asked it this after the game, I think the other night even, but, would Coach have pulled Milton if he hadn't got hurt? And then I have not heard anybody ask that question from the news media, nor have I heard the follow-up of it. Was he well enough to put him back in, and why didn't you insert him? And I wondered about that situation. Because he's your number one guy.
I don't know. Didn't work, though. All right, let's do one more here, and then we'll call it an evening.
Talking about
tomorrow night we got episode 3 of the podcast.
You ain't going to play long.
Excited?
Brother, we watched stuff like that for
we're not
5 or 6
Wyoming.
years.
We're stupid, okay.
We know bad, and we know when it's bad.
We're so stupid.
And, and coaches,
what?
I was wondering how you would grade our head coach at this moment, not calling for his head or nothing like that, just how you would grade his coaching, because when you have 13 penalties, I understanding that a lot of it's because we've lost our center, but we've had practice with that. We've had plan A, B, and C, I'm sure, during practice and stuff. And it just makes you wonder, what our discipline, the play calling, stuff like that, you scratch your head out. And the reason being, we've seen bad for so long, bad just kind of shows up, and we say, I have seen this before. And I'm hoping, as we said about the last 3 or 4 guys, I'm hoping this guy makes it. I really do. But when you see, what we've seen other than these 2 games, and another thing I was going to say, and then I'm going to get off here, I want to hear your comments on these things. But another thing I was going to say is this. We hear practice. We see them practice. We talk about what we've seen in practice. And I personally haven't seen practice. But the last practice that we seen as a fan was the last practice in the spring when they tried to simulate game type situation practice. In that practice, the guy that ain't never got on the field blistered the guy that's either 1 or 2 right now in that same scenario. He blistered him in practice.
Okay, it is.
So that's what we've seen.
Okay,
Up to this point, makes you scratch your head. You wonder about the timeout situation we see that we've seen in the past. And how would you grade the coach at this moment? And I appreciate your show, Tony, and you did a great job.
Much love, Matt. You got that.
It's kind of hard to grade a guy through 2 games. It's just hard to put a grade on their 2 games. They showed up ready to play.
Right.
Their scripted plays have been really good. The defense is a little better than we expected. So I don't know what grade you want to put on that, but I see a lot of positives, a lot more positives than I do negatives right now. The penalty thing, it's an issue, but it's been Heupel's issue his entire time as a head coach.
I mean, the only one side really
thing I can say is in their defense, they do play a lot more plays than most teams do, so that will lead to, in theory, more penalties.
Are we having false starts?
I think Ole Miss actually leads the country in penalties right now, and Alabama and Arkansas are right next to Tennessee there, so it's not some astronomical number that is just awful, but it's something that is going to be a problem because it's following Heupel from UCF, and that's what got him beat a game or 2 down there. So it's definitely concerning.
Saturday.
But again, it's just unfair to project what the previous coaching staff and quarterback play was to this one. There's still potential with Milton, and there's things that he does well, and we see flashes here and there that we really never saw with Times Square the last couple of years.
Maggie, what's up?
Maggie.
Because when she dropped that Times Square Tano, God.
And she's already got the Joe Milton nickname too. I'm not gonna give it on air. She'll drop that at some point, but she's got one that's just as good for Joe Milton.
She's a treat. Let's go back to our phones. 865-200-5402 to number.
Maggie, are you going to Gainesville again, like an idiot?
Yeah, Maggie, you going to Gainesville again, you complete moron. You and Crazy Don. Hello and welcome into our next call.
Hey, Tony, it's Joel in Charlotte.
Hey, Joel and Charlotte. Welcome in, brother.
How's it going? Yeah, just wanted to call and unpack a couple things here from.
Let's unpack it.
Just what I saw from the last game and from last year and everything. I actually called last year before the Florida game and gave kind of a ridiculous prediction, but I guess that's just how Gump had me feeling, ready to jump off a cliff after watching a season of football with him. But before we hired Heupel, one of my thoughts and expectations was I just didn't want to see bad and boring football anymore, right? I wanted to see a brand that was entertaining, that could at least score 20 points a game. With how our team is mentally beat up, right? It's hard to win games, but my expectations was I want to see football, and I want to see some points, and I want something to cheer about. And man, I tell you, Saturday I got that. I mean, it was exciting as I've seen in a couple years. I mean, I remember when, even before the pandemic, a couple years ago, when East Tennessee State came into Neyland and gave Jeremy Pruitt all he could.
This caller's giving me perspective.
Right?
I like it.
That's terrible football. But what we saw last Saturday, we saw a team. Sorry.
No, you go ahead, man.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So what we saw Saturday was a team that fought, that clawed, that was passionate. They gave up some points, but it's a young defense, right? And we saw them score some points. And I was up here with my boys. We were just screaming, yelling, cheering. There's a lot going on. I want to win just as bad as anyone, right? But I think this team's just got to learn how to win. And I think that's all it is. We've got some athletes.
Yeah.
We got good players. We just don't know how to win against great teams yet. And I tell you, Pitt's not a bad team. Pitt's a good team. One thing I want to see going into this weekend, I do support Joe Milton. I think he, like everybody has said, has incredible upside. I mean, you just can't, launch a ball like that and not have some favoritism behind you. But I would throw as many deep balls as it takes to get him on the right page with his receivers. I mean, I just go in there and I just, every series there's got to be at least one or two deep balls, but we got to, keep it moving. And also, I think with Josh Heupel's play calling, not like Gump, right? With his play calling, we're going to be in games. I fully expect us to be in that Florida Gators game, right? It's a matchup nightmare for them, especially if Milton can connect with his receivers. But that's all I got. I just wanted to call in, give you a perspective. Really enjoy your show, and listen to you every day. So
hey, thanks
for taking my call.
I think that's an interesting perspective.
Great call. Good call.
I mean, you have a chance this week to let this guy let it rip, don't you? Wouldn't you guys agree with that? I mean, you throw Milton out there, let him throw 6 or 7 long balls.
I don't see anybody on Tennessee Tech that's going to be able to cover Tennessee's receivers.
No.
At least they should be able to. So you should be able to do, you should be able to run, you should be able to throw, you should be able to do just about whatever you want.
And that's what Saturday's got to be. Look, if you decide Milton's my guy between now and then, and you start him, which I think that's what they're going to do, I think you got to throw him out there and throw the ball long. You got to do that.
You have to score 70.
That's what this offense is, and if they're not throwing it long,
you have to score at least 60
because
points.
You're playing safeties back, and then they're just going to beat you on short passes or just run it.
Score 60 to make me feel
better. And again, Tennessee Tech could have 13 defenders out there and struggle to cover us. So it's a game. It's the last chance to get your offense right.
Yes, sir.
And figure out exactly what you've got.
We're saying, Mr. Dixon.
Before your season gets real.
Exactly right. And you better treat it as such. In a way, it's like your third preseason game in the NFL used to be. Time for you to find out who's what, where, when, how, all that stuff. Let's get our next call in on overtime.
Hey, Tony, Josh, boy.
Under the wings.
Come on, here we go.
Tony,
do you think about the Braves baseball team?
Play this Saturday,
yes, he's
just going to sit him out?
I think he's going to play.
Gotcha. If I was Heupel, I would just sit him out for this game because this game really doesn't matter.
Probably
Rest
good point.
For Florida.
Probably a good point.
A couple of drives.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put Young out there either. That's who I would keep off sideline.
No, Ryan, you got to get him some timing. He's got to get his timing. He's not playing a game, right?
He's got to play.
And Tony, I have a point to bring up. A caller was mentioning this Saturday to you and Matt and Brian. D. Beckwith has not seen the field. I would put him in like some goal line packages to run the ball in the end zone. What do you guys think?
If he's not getting on the field otherwise, he's not going to get a special
I would do
package
something
for
with
himself. I just don't understand what we're doing, man.
It's kind of a shame to have that good of an athlete back there and
then exit right.
Just in witness protection program.
Yeah, because Tony, if he doesn't see the field, this kid is going to hit the transfer portal because you can't lose this good of an athlete. You got to get him on the field, you know?
Weird deal with him, man. Weird deal with him. What do you guys think happens with him? What do you think happens with Beckwith, Matt? Think they find a spot for him, or?
I don't think so, because usually if you have a talented guy like that you have plans for, you find a way to get him on one or two special teams units, and he's not even on any of those. And Lyneth Whitehead, I think, is on a couple of the kickoff, at least the kickoff return unit.
Yeah.
So I think he's above Beckwith on the depth chart. But that's a guy that was a really highly ranked 4-star guy who could also be that kind of bruiser power back if they wanted to. But we'll see this weekend if any of those guys get carries in the second half, because if they don't play this weekend, they're probably not going
for certain players. You
Yeah.
saw more in
Tony,
the Wildcat.
Not looking ahead to Florida or anything, but have they said anything on Antonio Richardson, if he'll play this weekend? I heard
Richardson.
He got banged up against South Florida.
Old Tiny playing for Florida now.
We had a beat writer on from Florida off the top of the show, and he told us that he believes that there's a chance Richardson plays this weekend against Alabama, and the thought might be, and this is him spitballing because nobody knows.
8 hours and 20 minutes to go.
But the thought might be they don't need him to beat Tennessee, but they might need him to beat Florida. So let him play, or to beat Alabama. I'm sorry. So play him. Play him against Tennessee. I mean, play him against Alabama this weekend and let the chips fall where they may against Tennessee.
Yeah.
I couldn't have butchered that anymore if I tried, but Joshy boy, you're making me nervous over here.
Yeah, I know.
Quit doing that to me.
Okay. And I got a question for Matt. My question for Matt is, what do you guys think about the Tennessee Tech game? What are you guys looking for overall going into that game Saturday?
See what they do with the quarterbacks, how they rotate them, or
get your young guys on defense, get them in the game,
and then
score a shit ton of points and shut them out.
Those third string guys that see a lot of snaps that you're probably going to have to count on throughout the season in spots. See which guys the coaches are putting out there to get some experience. It's a game where you can pretty much pick your score, and so I would like to think we could get up into the at least 50s and maybe even 60s, just running our offense. So the quarterback deal is obviously the most important, and that's what they've got to get right coming out of this game. So that's what I'm looking at the most. But then who are those kind of underclassmen or second or third team guys that they put a lot of snaps on to see if they can handle stuff going forward.
Yeah, and out the door, Tony, I think all three quarterbacks will play Saturday. I do think all three will get playing time.
I doubt it.
I don't know.
Green, I doubt it.
I think it'd be interesting. I'm not sold that all three quarterbacks Yeah.
Can we clarify the stuff on Milton from Saturday? I think
sure.
On the post game, we were talking about how I think we said that Heupel. It was brought up that Heupel said he could have gone back in.
Yes.
But then I think yesterday, he said that he couldn't have gone back in. Do we kind of have clarification on that? I think we might have misheard something on the post game media stuff with Milton, because if he could have gone back in, there's a big difference in that versus that Hooker played the rest of the game versus he couldn't have gone back in.
Did we mishear it, or did he walk it back?
That's what I don't know.
I don't either.
I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's kind of something I don't want to get wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Because I wrote it in the blog that Heupel said, he could have gone back in, but they chose to go with Hooker. If that's inaccurate, I certainly we need to clarify that, because that kind of makes a difference. If Milton could have gone back in but didn't, to me that means they went with Hooker for performance reasons.
And that's what he said.
No.
So he said after the game he could have gone back in. We chose to go with this guy because he was moving the offense. He did say that. But what? And people go, well, then why is this guy not benched? Well, here's the reason. Because when they went back and watched the film, they graded the film, and Joe Milton graded out better.
All right, here we go.
So it's entirely consistent to me that all that could be true, Matt, what you just said. See, there's a path for you as a coach to have credibility before your team and go, hey, look, everybody in here gets graded, including all of our assistant coaches and the way their units perform. Everybody in here gets graded. And by the way, you're not going to do well on every test you take. So we're going to have good weeks, bad weeks, in between weeks, whatever it is. And so I heard Josh Heupel say Saturday he could have gone back in the game. We chose this guy because he's moving the offense, and we decided to stay with him. Brian, isn't that what you heard? That's exactly what I heard.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I understood it.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that jumped out at me, and that's something I took note of, was the fact that he said that Milton could have re-entered the game, but they decided to let Hooker just finish it out.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to bet my life on that, but that's what I heard him say. And, I mean, we could go back and find it, obviously, in a transcript. The interesting thing, though, is you can still say that and then come back on Monday, because he also said, when he was asked, well, who's your starter? And he said, see, here's the thing. If he would have said he couldn't have come back in, then nobody would have said to him, then who's your starter? Yep. Because the next question right after that was, well, then who's the starting quarterback for Tennessee Tech? See, if he would have said, this guy's hurt, nobody would have asked him that follow-up question, because then you're going, well, wait a second here. We have an injury situation. You can't ask that question right now. How do I know? I'm not going to be ready if he's ready to play. But when he sat him, which is what they did, then a follow-up question was asked, Matt, if you think about it. A follow-up question was asked, or you might have been making your way from the stadium when that was going on, but a follow-up question was specifically asked, then who's your starting quarterback for the Tennessee Tech game? To which Josh Heupel said, I'm going to look at the film. Which completely makes that.
He did say that they'd have to reevaluate who the starting quarterback was throughout the week. I know for a fact he said that.
And you wouldn't have said that if the guy was hurt. You wouldn't have said that if the guy was injured. Because at that point you would have said, well, out of respect to this guy, we're not. He basically said, we're going to look at the film from this game, and we're going to determine going forward. Now, yesterday what they did was smart, is they said, well, Joe, and see, that's the way I would have played it, which is, we're going to see about Joe if he's healthy. But even then, the assumption is, if he's healthy, he's your starter. If he's healthy, he's your starting quarterback. That's the assumption. The way he was talking yesterday. Which lines up, Matt, with what I heard, which is they graded the film on Sunday and they went, man, this Hooker guy's loose with the football. Which, by the way, is what Virginia Tech fans, if you go on their boards, you go and look at what people say about Virginia Tech that follow Virginia. He was loose with the football there. Does a lot of fun things. He's dynamic. Does a lot of things. You cannot make losing plays at winning time. You can't do that at this level. And I'm here to tell you. And I like the way Hendon Hooker played Saturday. Gave Tennessee a lift, no question. That ball that he threw into quadruple coverage when he didn't look the safety on, he looked him into it. I mean, that was Gitmo football. You can't do that. You can't do that there. And look, I'm not on the guy. I mean, it is what it is. College quarterback, trying his best. But he didn't scream, that's my starter for the rest of the year, like some people in our fan base are making it seem because they want to go off Joe Milton. And I'm not trying to pick sides. As for Harrison Bailey, you going to see him Saturday? I have no idea. I have no idea.
Keep right.
Because, again, this team has to get, these coaches have to get this team ready for the teeth of their schedule. Are you going to play Harrison Bailey this year? Is that in the cards? Because, to me, the Tennessee Tech game's a precious opportunity to get your quarterback situation right. Is it not? I mean, what else is it? It's a great opportunity to do that, isn't it?
Look, it's the last opportunity to get it right as well. From here on out, every game is, kind of a big game, except, I guess that South Alabama game and Vandy there at the end of the year. But I mean, every other game you can't go in, playing musical chairs with quarterbacks because you got to go out and win games and you have to play well to win.
Yeah.
So you've got to have after this game, you have to be pretty sure what your quarterback situation is going forward long term. Yeah. At least this season.
So, Matt, I believe that what you put in your report today, which is why I left it in there, I believe that's 100% accurate. I guess is a very wordy way of saying that's 100% accurate. That's why when I was reading it, I left it in there because your report's excellent, and I think you have a right read on this thing.
Well, because I didn't hear the press conference, and
right.
I probably should have gone back and listened, but I know I saw some tweets that said Milton could not re-enter the game, and I think that's what Bino said he heard too. So I just, it's just regardless now, we can, kind of forget about it. If Milton's healthy, he seems to be like he's still going to be the starter, which is kind of the end result regardless of what happened Saturday.
Yes, and I think that's the case because, again, if he was able to go back in, why was he asked after the game then who's your starting quarterback? Because basically what he said is, we left Hendon Hooker in the game because he moved our team. And he was pretty unapologetic about it. But then yesterday he was pretty unapologetic about saying, hey, this guy turned the ball over twice. And you can't have that. He did some nice things for us, but he turned the ball over. And you know what? That's right down the line there, Jerry Rafferty. Let's get our next call in.
And they turned the ball over on fourth down inside the 5 there late.
Yeah, that's
we don't know if he could have, if he had the
green light to keep
pull
it
that or not.
Yep.
But you could also kind of count that as a turnover.
Yep. Let's get our next call in. Hello and welcome.
Hey, Tone, Jake from Memphis. How y'all doing, man?
Hey, Jake, you welcome in.
I was so excited that there was no Jake from Memphis today.
I'm not going to freak out if Milton starts this week. We're going to win this game whether he plays bad or plays good. And so get him out there and, like you said, work out these kinks because it's pretty clear that now Hooker's a great backup. I believe he's a serviceable SEC backup quarterback, but it's pretty clear that for us to reach our max potential offensively, Milton has to be the guy. If he starts hitting, and I know it's a big if, but if he starts and learns how to hit these deep balls, we got some serious.
Can't be a college quarterback and learn how to hit a deep ball. Come on, man, you should know how to do this.
This is the last time. Either A, he does that against Tennessee Tech, and you you know what you got, and so get Hooker the reps in the second half or whatever. Or B, he comes in and starts lighting it up, and he's getting more and more connections with the wide receivers. He's filling them out better. I mean, you got to have those reps. And I'm not saying he's going to do that, but it's pretty clear that if he does that, we can really take off. Because, like you said earlier in the show, Hooker. Or, I'm not exactly who said it, but if you notice in the game, once Milton came out, our deep threat was essentially gone. I mean, Hooker, I think I can maybe remember 2 long balls that he threw, and both of them were incomplete. One was a penalty, like a defensive holding penalty. Another one was not a very good throw to Callaway on the sideline. But we didn't take any deep shots with Hooker, and that's a major part of our offense.
Supposed to be.
Yeah. So yeah, get Milton in there and see if he can work it out. And if he can't, fine, take him out, put Hooker in, Tiffany, whatever. Yeah, I mean, this is a good chance for him to get on a better, better timing with receivers. I think it's really interesting that ESPN put this Tennessee-Florida game prime time, 6 o'clock. I mean, that game's a noon game for as long as I can remember. I mean, not as long as I can remember, but at least the past 4 or 5 years, it's been a nooner because it's been a boring game. I think they know this is going to. We can score some points. We can keep up with them. This is going to be an exciting game. I don't think that's anything just to overlook that they put it prime time, 6 o'clock ESPN. I think they know. And
they know something's coming, don't they? They know something's coming, don't they?
Well, you don't put there's thought that goes behind these spot times, these game times.
Yep.
I mean, if they thought Florida's going to blow us out, it's a noon game or it's a 2:30 SEC Network Plus game, 4 o'clock start, whatever.
See, I think the man's telling the truth right there. You need to listen to him. You need to listen to Jakey. Jakey's telling you the truth right there.
I mean, I don't want to put too much thought into a game. I'm not saying that we're going to win. I'm just saying they think it's going to be a game.
Yep.
And frankly, I do too. I living here in Memphis. Memphis is a melting pot of SEC fans. We got Arkansas, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Bama, all sorts of fans here. And I mean, the majority Tennessee fans, but you get a lot of different tastes around town. And going to church Sunday morning, I was wearing my Tennessee gear, and people were coming up to me saying, man, that was rough. Same old Tennessee. And I was like, did you watch the game? And they were like, I can't believe you showed up with that shirt. I was like, did you watch the game? Dude, this is the best I felt after a loss in years. I mean, I loved what I saw from our team, and we had no business being in that game. We had no business potentially beating an upper-tier ACC team when we had 30 players leave our team, and most of our starting offensive personnel was out of the game by halftime. Like, I am thrilled with our coaching so far. We just need the players, and mainly need a quarterback. And when we get those, our defense is rolling. Shoot, man, like Joel said, after coming down from the initial just frustration of the game and going back and really just high level looking at it, it was a fun game. It was fun to sit down and enjoy Tennessee playing football for once and not being mad. Yeah, the penalties were frustrating, but you can just see it. Like, you can just see what we can be. And so I was it was funny that they're like, no, I didn't really get a chance to watch it. I just saw y'all lost. I was like, yeah, I know. That's why you're saying that. But you go back and look at our game, like, it was fun, man. It was a fun college football game. And I guess heading out, just my last question to you guys is, what do you think is going to be the game this year that really helps give Heupel and his staff some time in regards to
something stupid like an exhilarating win against South Carolina or Kentucky?
He's already kind of getting a leash in a loss. I mean, he lost to Pitt, and I feel like fans are getting more and more on board. So imagine if he gets a big win. What do you think is going to be that win that's like, okay, and,
it's coming in 10. It's coming in 11 days.
I think Ole Miss will be a big win. I hope you're right, man.
It's coming in 11 days.
That's a good one, but
if you beat Florida on the road, he'd be the first coach to beat Florida on the road since what, 03?
Since Filmer. I had to look at the film.
He could tell his players, he could tell his fans, hey, it's the first time that y'all have done this in 18 years.
Yeah, I'm the man.
Man, I hope you're right, man.
I'm the man for this job.
Yeah. That would give him I feel like that would give him at least an extra year of what he normally would have. He just needs one game like that.
One game.
Where we can hang our hat on.
Yep.
Guys, I appreciate the time. Love the show.
Call it straight down the middle. That's all I hate.
Not a bad call from Jake.
Call it straight down the middle. I see it coming.
I think the Ole Miss game would be like that for him. If he can win that game and beat Kiffin.
Right down the middle, Brian.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the big one. And that one's at home. That's the only one of these games that he was talking about that's at home, because Florida's on the road, and then Missouri and Kentucky, I think, are the other two kind of swing games that you're going to be underdogs in, and I still think you can beat both of those teams. That Missouri team's not any good. I know Tone loves that Eli Drinkwitz, but that guy's a total loser.
Back to the phones we go. Matt taking a passive-aggressive shot at me, or maybe an aggressive passive shot at me. Mark Evans, Tennessee is so bad that you now have a hacker tech show going. Hello and welcome into our next call. That's probably true, Arky.
Oh, Lordy.
But you got to do, a man's got to do what a man's got to do.
That's Roger.
What a man's got to do. Ain't that right, Raj?
Yes.
That's right.
How'd you know it was me, Raj? How'd you know it was me?
Huh?
How'd you know it was me? I called Raj last night, guys.
Yeah.
Tell Matt and Brian where you were last night when I called you.
I was at home.
No. And what were you doing when I called you? What were you doing when I called you? What were you doing?
Matt and Brian, I want to tell you, I went first time I called him. Well, not ever, but first time I talked to a couple talk, and I got to talk to the guy that comes on with John Jimmy every Friday night. The
Rulebook guy.
I think it's his name is Gerald.
Gerald Austin is awful. Awful.
Yeah, Jared. First time they got to talk to him, so I asked him about the fight with Liberty. So that was an honor to that. So first time to get to know. So I got to talk to Jared, the River guy. So Matt and Brian, something about that.
And what did you ask the rulebook guy?
Cool. Did you tell him that officiating crew at our game was awful?
Terrible.
I forgot about that, man.
Did you ask him why they've cut back on the number of cameras this year, and what's the point of having replay if they can just fall back on that as an excuse?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I get to do that either, Tony. No. But I did ask him about Matt and Brian, Tony. I got to ask him about some of the certain video. Like I asked him what do you do if you can't decide on if it's tight. A tight one. It's way tight, very tight. I'm not sure about what they do decide on it. If I'm not sure about it. And he said they go to the referees and they kind of go over it. And kind of decide. So it's kind of neat. Kind of neat. So but anyway, Matt, how you doing? Hey, Brian, how y'all doing today?
Hey, Rob. Hey, Rob.
Doing good, Rob.
Hey.
All right.
Good. And Tony, how you doing, mate? How you doing, buddy?
Tony vacated for a second, but he'll be back. He had to step out.
All right.
Tony's doing well. Probably getting yelled at by Laura for being on at 2 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Matt, I want to ask you, buddy, about Joe. I know he will do some passes. I just want to ask you, Matt, about Matt. Matt, how do you create that, Matt? If you coach, how do you create that? How do you get him to? How do you create that? How do you create that? And
again, the thought, how you create that, Matt? The missing the open long passes. How do you create that? Stop making them, Matt. What do you do, Matt? On that, with that.
Well, Roger, it's really hard to fix being an inaccurate passer, especially when you've played as much as Milton has. The throw to Tillman that was wide open and it should have been a walk-in touchdown. There's no fixing that. You just have to hit that guy. On some of those deeper ones and the outside throws, maybe you can. It sounds counterintuitive, but maybe if you hold the ball a little bit longer and let your receiver get further downfield, or you could maybe put a little bit more air under it. There's, those are such field plays though that a guy just either kind of hits him or he doesn't, and it's just really hard to correct that stuff. But they're really close to connecting on them, and if he hits one of them, you never know. It might be just kind of that spark and it just kind of clicks going forward. If you just get that first one, kind of like when you're in a slump in baseball, you get that one hit, and you might, bat 400 for the next 2 weeks. So it's just something that it's either got to get fixed or you have to change quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, for sure. You're right, Matt. For sure, Matt. All right, with that. So, do you think, Matt, Joe, would you give him a chance at it? Would you give him a chance to? Well, if he was a coach, would you give him a chance to get? Would you give him the chance at it, Matt? At it?
Yeah, I would. And now he's got to be healthy this week. But if he's healthy, I definitely give him this week and that Florida game too. You don't want a guy making his first start in Gainesville. We saw how disastrous that's been in the past. So, but yeah, I would continue to go with Milton. He has that upside and what this offense can be with Milton is so much higher than it is with the other
Truck
guys.
Simulator servers are undergoing
So I would give him another chance, chance or two. But if those things aren't fixed when we're leaving Gainesville, then I would seriously consider making a change.
Keep right.
Yeah, I'm with you, Matt. I'm with you with that, Matt. I'm with you with that. All right. Also, Brian. Brian, do you agree with that, Matt? Brian, do you agree with all that? Do you agree with all the Matt saying about that, about Joe? Brian,
I think you got to go with someone who gives you the best chance to win. I think you got to go with the guy who's going to make the fewest mistakes. And right now, we don't really know who that is. I think it seems like Milton, sort of his mistakes, you can't really. He just overthrows a lot of players where Hooker's mistakes could actually lead directly to turnovers. Milton's mistakes lead directly to missed opportunities. So you have to weigh one against the other.
Yeah,
man.
And Matt, are you impressed with Tennessee for impressed all the players that got hurt during the game, and Tennessee still played good and still able to be in the game? Would you impress with that, Matt? With them, would you impress with Tennessee with everything that happened and when he got hurt and then saw the things that happened? Was you impressed with Tennessee still be in the game still?
Absolutely, Roger. We played a lot better than I expected us to, and we had really, I guess we had two chances in the fourth quarter to tie or take the lead, and that's really all you can ask for with our limitations. And I've been excited with what I've seen defensively. They're not good by any means, and they have to start forcing some turnovers, but they've gotten stops when they've absolutely needed to, and there's something to be said for that. Now, I don't think that's sustainable all season, but it does show that there's some growth that you can do. And if you could just start, forcing a couple of more sacks a game and definitely get one or two turnovers a game, you're going to put your offense or give your offense a chance to win games in the fourth quarter. And that's really all we can ask for this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I think it. And do you think the team is better than last year's team for what you so far for what you've seen of the whole team for the effort and everything? Or you think the team is better for? You think the team is better than last year's team was, Matt? Was?
Oh, it's much better. The effort is there.
Well, I guess that's it for tonight.
Last
then
year just checked out at halftime of that Georgia game, and now they were a lot more talented. But this year's team, if they played each other, the kind of that late October version of this year's team would beat that team by at least 3 touchdowns.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, didn't like that. Anyways, folks, thank you for joining us.
Would look good there. They'd get some turnovers against that offense and hold them to 24.
All right, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe, whatever you'd like to do. But anyways, yeah. We shall see you next time, and good night. Bye-bye.